Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel on a Friday afternoon. Rico Z-Bot here with you. We have reached peak off-season, Rico. The Stanley Cup Game 7 came and went. Your Canadians, and I'm not talking about the team in Montreal, go another, the 30th year here now without bringing home the cup. I was so upset for McDavid and company. Florida wins it. The cup's done. NBA Finals has been done for a while, and now it's what do the Yankees got going on? When does the MLB playoffs start? Worst time of the year, but hopefully it goes quick. We're 10 short weeks away from NFL kickoff. We've reached peak off season, Rico. We got some of the dumbest shit on planet Earth to talk about today because that's what's circulating the news cycle around the NFL. But for starters, how's your week been? How's Friday going for you so far?
Buddy, the week has been great. I'm on a new schedule. Well, I'm trying to appease the old lady on the new schedule, because if you guys don't know, I work overnights. I work the overnight shifts. I've been doing that the last almost 10 years, man. The last almost a decade doing overnight shift. And I don't know how I'm able to. I don't know how I do it, because I got the kids and I'm doing the podcast and I'm doing all that stuff, and I don't know how I fit it in, but we do. Yep. And she's like, "Hey, the kids are getting older now. It's very difficult for me to be doing supper, boom, the do. I can't do it all. So you're gonna have to kind of break your sleep." I hate breaking sleep. I don't know if you guys do shift work, whoever does, like, or whoever are nurses or whatever the case is that do overnight. Breaking sleep blows. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. I like one swoop of a sleep. Even if it's a 4 hour shift of sleep, I'll take that over a 2 hour here and then a 4. I can't do it.
So you're doing like military sleep right now.
No, I am not a fan. Because I'm beat. Yo, I'm like, or maybe it's just I'm getting older. Maybe that's what it is, man. Your boy's getting older, and I don't know if I'm feeling it. But other than that, man, we are good. We are blessed, highly favored. We do what we do, and we're all right. But you, on the other hand, your week or your day or the last half hour has been fun.
You know, it's never easy. Nothing's ever just in and out anymore. Like you just said, you know, it's always something. You got to break the sleep now. You're getting off base. We were supposed to go live at 2 p.m. That's what we agreed upon, right? So we're out. You know, half of it's probably my fault. Starbucks has the new Energizer thing out, and we get the notification, buy one, get one. I like it. You know, the lady likes it. So, hey, why don't we go real quick? So we do. Then it's done. All right, let's go back home. Got stuff to do. But Caroline's like, what do you say we get the car washed? Because we went out. This is a whole other thing. We went to the beach this past week with the whole family.
And the weather's been nice, I guess. So that's good. That works.
Yeah, it was down in the Jersey Shore, actually right on the same street as the old gang used to party on.
Okay.
The Jersey Shore gang, right down in Seaside Heights there. So we drove back from there. The car is all destroyed. So go get it washed. Now, I don't know if you're under the impression of what a car wash is as far as how you view it. But when I think of a car wash, I think of driving through the thing, 5 minutes, in and out. That's how I look at it.
Should work that way.
Pull up, go through you get on the automatic thing, you put the thing in neutral, you go through, bing, you're off on the races, right? Off to the races. She goes, "I'll drop you off first if you want." Here was the biggest mistake of the day, Rico.
Drop you off.
Right. She goes, I can drop you off so you can get to the show, and I'll go back out. I said, "It's just a car wash. Just go through real quick. We'll go home." Pull into the car wash, and it's one of those ones where it's very narrow. So once you are in line and someone's behind you, you're committed. You cannot get out. You can't throw it in reverse.
Who drives typically?
So we pretty much split it up.
Okay.
Evenly. Honestly, more like growing up, my dad drove 99 point. Actually, I'd even be willing to say 100% of the time. 100% of the time.
Okay.
Caroline and I, very down the middle. I love to drive. She doesn't mind it either. Usually longer ones will split it up, but it really all just depends on the day and the mood. Really what it all comes down to.
My father-in-law will not allow my mother-in-law to drive.
Really? See, I know that's a thing. That's a thing.
he drives.
What about you guys? Is that how you are?
I'm 50-50 because there are moments where I'm like, yo, I want to be on my phone. I got this stuff. Yo, you want to drive? Yeah. And it's like that.
I like that.
If we need to be somewhere and ain't no time to deal with that, yo, I'm jumping in the whip and I'm the one driving. You do what you gotta do. I get car sick. Girl, you ain't gonna do car sick. Let's go. We got places to be. So I had to ask you.
Caroline gets car sick a lot too. Or so she says she does. I've never seen it. She says she gets car sick. It's funny. She says she's been saying for 8 years she gets car sick. I've never seen her once get car sick. But anyway, we're in line for this car wash. And then someone's behind us. Okay, fine. And I'm thinking, all right, we'll go. Next thing you know, like you said, you get to scrolling on the phone. We'll get to talking about a couple of things I was reading that I'm just sitting there infatuated with the stupidity of. And I'm sitting there and I'm kind of enthralled in it. And then I noticed like 10 minutes go by in the car. We haven't moved an inch. And I'm going, what's the deal here? Then I notice it's one of those car washes where you have to get out of your car and they do a quick, vacuum. And then you got to watch your car from a hallway.
Oh, you went to one of those car washes.
Car wash from Breaking Bad. You know the Breaking Bad, the money laundering car wash they own? It's like that one. Except they must have been, God bless them, you obviously must be getting paid by the hour because they were treating this car like it was a Bugatti fresh off the lot. I mean, it was insane. Rico, 50 minutes from start to finish to get the car washed.
Yeah. Who chose this place?
Who do you think? Caroline wants to come in and defend herself. Look at here she is. Here she is. Oh no, she's in a full bathing suit.
I knew you would be talking about this. All I hear from downstairs is Caroline.
So what do you have to say for yourself?
Not my phone.
He just asked who chose the place.
I did, but it never take that long. I'm from New York. They go quick. Connecticut, they go nice and slow.
In her defense, she was under the impression it's not like she knew what we were getting into. So that's in her defense. She didn't know either.
She dropped the. I'm from New York. I don't know about that. Connecticut is everybody's slow around Connecticut. You chose.
So what do you have to say? Final thoughts.
Next time, Z-Bot should take me up on my offer to drop him off first.
I did mention that you offered to drop me off.
You got your ass there. She said, "I'll drop your ass off." You're like, "No, babe, we got this."
We've made up, but it was a very. It almost broke us, Rigo. It almost broke us. It almost shattered us.
Wedding off.
3 months from the wedding, and this really almost could have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Facts.
No, but in reality, I mean, like if you like, for instance, there's a guy who walked in and he buys a coffee. He bought a couple bags of candy. I mean, that's what you have to carve out about 7 hours of your day. Lesson learned.
Those car wash days are the days where you ain't doing anything. I mean, that somebody's at the house doing something, doing work or whatnot.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me go get a car wash. Let me go do that. But
see, back in Rochester, and I don't know if they might be up in Buffalo now, these Royal Car Wash. I'm not sure if they've made their way to Buffalo yet, but Buffalo's got Delta Sonic, so they know it's pretty much the same thing. Well, it is the same thing. You can buy, and I had this back in Rochester. I don't know what's up with Connecticut. I want to start one down here. I feel like I'd be sitting on a gold mine if I do this because there is no automatic car washes. So back in Rochester, I had this thing. It was amazing. It's $20 a month. And it was a little sticker you put on your car. You drove right through like an easy pass, like through the highway. You drove right through the thing and you're in and out of there in 10 minutes. So Cam knows what I'm talking about. There's these Royal Car Washes in Rochester now. They're all over the place. Delta Sonic too, same thing. You drive through with the little pass. I used to get my car wash, Rico, 4 times a week because it was that quick. So that's what I'm under the impression of. It never once in my life, other than down here, have I gone to a car wash and had to like dedicate an hour to doing it. But that's how it's done down here, I guess.
Listen, you're a microwave guy. You just want things done quick things. I mean, sometimes things you got to take some time. Listen, I bet your car is legit squeaky clean in and out.
That's the thing we said right after, Caroline. Like after I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Well, you satisfied?" She's like, "Well, all the bugs are off the car now." And I'm like, "They better be.
You're clean."
Minutes. I mean, this thing's ready to go and put back. We go and sell the thing.
By the way, Kim Taylor says, I can't believe I caught you guys live. I'm a diehard Chiefs fan, but I love you guys. After our run is done, I'll be rooting for Josh because your passion for him and your team is contagious.
I love it so much.
Kim Taylor, salute to you. Let's give you some love to Kim Taylor. The one thing I like about this show, and by the way, for those that are tuning in right now, listen, you guys know us as, obviously Rico and Bot, and we have our own individual shows during the season, but we figured during the offseason, let's come together. Let's go a pod a week. And let's not stick to just football chat. Let's talk about everything around the sun, especially in the offseason. And this allows us to kind of touch on everything, right? It's not just football, because sometimes it can't just be all football all the time. You got to talk about
sometimes
everything.
It's got to be the car wash, sometimes
everything under the sun. Everything under the sun. So if you think it's just going to get football, this podcast, it's not. It's going to be pop culture stuff. It's going to be life stuff. It's going to be everything under the sun that we can talk about, because that's just what it is. And it's more relatable to everybody. Not everybody has something to talk about. I'm sure you have a car wash issue or a story that you've had before, and somebody accidentally put the window down and you're like, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there's something like that. But kudos to you. Car was washed. You're straight. Then you get home, and now you're ready to pod, and now we're delayed. Why? Why are we delayed?
Well, and then so I sit down, and as you know, I got a very crippling Diet Coke addiction. It's terrible. It's gonna kill me. It's gonna put me in my grave. It's gonna kill me dead.
Diet Coke.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just love it.
It tastes terrible though.
I love it so much. I don't know why. It's like my little thing. It's like my little slice of heaven, So I cracked that thing open for the show, and as I go to hit the live button, just dump it all over my keyboard. So
Apple keyboard on top of that.
We're off and running on a Friday. Luckily, the Apple keyboard is like, it doesn't have any like crevices, so I think we're fine. I don't think I broke the thing.
It's like
I did break the thing. That's the problem with an Apple thing, though. If you break it, you're in for $200 at a bare minimum. It's not. You can't just break it and feel good about it. You're screwed. So, yeah, off and running on a Friday.
Off and running to the. Hey, but I gotta ask you a question real quick.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I struggle. I don't know if you guys all struggle with this. I'm struggling with finding time to get a workout in. I mean, maybe I'll pop a couple push-ups here and there, but I'm talking about like a full workout. You got a wedding coming up just around the corner. Are you in this full-blown gotta watch what I eat? Work out a couple. I gotta, trim the waistline a little bit so I can fit in my suit. Are you in that mode yet? Or are you just like, man, you get married and that's that? So I want to go comfortable.
I have the metabolism of like a 90-year-old. I don't even know. You find the worst metabolism on the planet, and I promise you I have twice as bad. So I got some spare change that I got to unload. I got to go drop off at the coin station, if you know what I mean. I'm carrying around a couple extra coins.
Yes.
I'm absolutely in that mode. So we just hit the 90-day mark like we were talking about last week. And I think so. I lived in Manhattan in college for about this same period. And while I was there, I got really into eating right, working out. I remember in about a 90-day period, it's probably the best shape I'd ever been in.
Okay.
So I'm looking at it now and I'm trying to do the same thing. So I have this time window, like you said. It's funny you bring this up because I'm just getting into this. Right when that 90-day mark hit, I'm like, all right, it's time to lock in. Because you only get one wedding, and I'd like to look my best, like you said, fit into that suit, nice and good, and be my best me. So I am hitting that mark, but it is tough, like you said, to fit it in. But I did see this quote recently that kind of made me think a bit differently on it, and it was like, nobody has time for anything until they make time for something.
Facts.
And that's a great way to put it, because anything you don't want to do, it's easy to just say, I don't have time for it. But you have time for the stuff you want to make time for. I have to make time for it. So this 90-day window, I'm sticking to it. I'm going to make time for it. Chicken and rice, and go and get the Stairmaster in, hit the weights a little bit. And hopefully 90 days from now when the wedding comes around, I'm in a bit better shape than I currently am. How are you looking at it? How is your mindset surrounded around that whole type of...
Listen, I'm with you. I tell myself, I think we all fall into this thing of July 1st. This is when I'm going to start. I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to start doing that. But then you got kids that you're going to get there. You got kids like, Dad, can we get McDonald's? And I'm like, yo, we ain't got no McDonald's money. We got to eat. We're going to eat at home. That's where the food's at.
We got McDonald's at home. Yeah.
These kids are smart asses these days. And they're like, actually, I do have McDonald's money when I save my money for such and such. So I'm like, I ain't going to make my kids pay for their McDonald's. So I was like, all right.
So they hit you with the I got it, Dad, don't worry.
I got it. But like, what you gonna punk me right now? So I gotta sit here. All right, everybody's gonna happy me. We're not trying to eat everything, and by the time you eating fast food, you eating all this stuff. So I was like, yo, I gotta be disciplined. I gotta be the head of the household. So yo, we ain't doing that. We're going home, and that's what we get. So I'm this month. I'm gonna start it off. I'm gonna start, doing all that stuff. But it's just like I have a freaking home workout. I don't want to call it a Smith machine. I can't. It's like a multifunctional gym.
Like a Bowflex thing.
It's kind of like a Bowflex.
Yeah.
I've had that the last year, bro. I've used that thing 4 times. I keep walking past it. I go to the podcast room. I'm looking right at it. I say, yo, I got to get my shit together and just get on that thing and start pumping. And that's what it's going to be. I got to just make the time. That's exactly what I got to do. I got to make the time. And that's where we're at right now. So kudos to you. Jump in there. Lose a couple of coins. Yeah. I got to lose a couple coins as well. And we going to do it together, man.
Listen, I'm hoping by the time the wedding rolls around and we get to link up, we're both looking at each other. We're saying we're the best version of ourselves. Let's hope we get there.
Hey, my man said the shirt's coming out of he's coming off the wedding. Unbutton that thing, be like,
listen, Pierre knows it could get a little crazy. It could get a little nuts. I'm hoping we have half the squad shirts off by the end of the night at this wedding. We'll see what happens, but hopefully, hey, if the gym and the eating right goes well, maybe it'll come off a little earlier. Who knows?
No doubt about that. So, what are we talking about today, brother?
We got a bunch of stuff on the field, off the field. We got some NBA news, which is quite interesting in regard to your Lakers that we'll talk about. We can touch on a little bit of what we saw last night, and I'm seeing the comments already. We won't get into politics here. I don't even know if last night can be called politics. I don't know what that was. It was entertaining, to say the least. We won't talk about politics, but we might touch a little bit on what we witnessed last night, which I find to be historic. I think what we watched last night is something that we will be talking about forever. And the internet certainly is letting us know that. If not for anything, you know that when something not great happens, at least you're going to get the best quality Twitter material you've ever seen. And I think that's exactly why last night will be remembered forever, because you're seeing currently online in infamy what we witnessed last night. I'm still not entirely sure what I watched was real. I keep having to ask Caroline, did that really happen last night? And then I go online and I'm reminded. So,
and you're like, was that a debate? Did I see any back and forth? True back and forth. I love me a good debate. I love me a good back and forth. When someone's making a point, boom, ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's that meme, or I wouldn't call it a meme, but there's a clip where the ref is he's a boxing referee, and there's a good fight going on. The referee's like, ooh, good fight, ooh, good shot, ooh, he's all over the place. I wasn't expecting any of that stuff, and I'm Canadian, bro. I fought. I mean, American news is all over the place, so you have no choice but to pay attention. And I'm watching clips. I'm not watching the whole thing. I'm watching clips. I'm watching a bit of it live as well.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I watching? What? I'm waiting for just soundbite after soundbite after soundbite. And like we said, we're not trying to get into politics, because we're not trying to get into left or right or whatever. It was just, it's just watching this unfold on TV. I gotta say, man, if you're on the Biden side, Biden administration, and you prepped this brother for a long time. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it took weeks to prep. And you said you're ready. You're ready to go out there. And I get it. There's stage fright. There's freezing when a certain question comes up. Maybe you're not a test guy, but you're running running this whole world. They're running this whole country, bro. You better come with it. That was embarrassing. Is that the best word to describe what we saw yesterday? Embarrassing.
What really like made it sink in for me, as far as wow, like this is crazy, is that afterwards, everyone that is part of the Democratic Party was basically saying this was a disaster. Like, I've never heard people that entrenched in their own party discredit what their party just represented for them. But they knew there was no way that they couldn't. I mean, what we watched last night was, I think, unlike anything we've ever seen before. I mean, these guys were arguing about their golf handicap at one point. We're talking about millions and millions of Americans. I mean, even you, Canadian, you're tuning in, people around the world. These guys are arguing about whether or not they have a 6 handicap. Out of all the things Biden said last night, the one thing that took Trump back the most was that he said he had a 6 handicap. Trump almost fell over. That was what was actually unfolding last night. So I look at it, and I think the majority of people, and this is probably not a great thing, but it's probably the reality. 90% of the people tuning in last night were tuning in for the entertainment factor, and that is exactly what you got. You got entertained, to say the least.
You certainly got
people are looking at it right now, Rico, and they're just like, man, this is
move until we get the total ban. on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
we have to move until we get the total ban.
I'm going to tell you something, man.
I couldn't believe that happened.
I'm not for either individual, but man, was that entertainment. You said it best. Entertainment. Debate, whether you want to call it a debate or not, it was what we call a train wreck. Some people say that was a train wreck. It was a tire fire. It just wasn't good. That line, people are saying it was the kill shot. That was the kill shot right there. I don't even know what he's saying. I don't think he knows what he's saying. Oh my God. And then you got Biden just going, just that Biden look. Oh man. I don't know, man. Listen, we got our own issues on this side of the border. I mean, I think
I was watching I saw a little bit of the Canadian debate where the guy was talking about the bill that Trudeau ran up on his private plane for his meals or whatever. Oh. So it happens everywhere. It's not just here. It's constant. It's constant.
Listen,
whatever you call it.
I don't know better. We have the House of Commons, and it's the back and forth. You get a chance to debate back and forth and just hit them and hit them and hit them, and you got a whole team standing up behind you. It's theatrics. But anyway, I thought it was. I mean, we're not getting into who's right, who's wrong, who's the best. It was just what we witnessed on TV or on your tablets or on your phone. Pure comedy.
And that's the thing. Usually politics, and this is why you will never come on here and you will never hear us talking about it.
Nope.
Because you're never gonna get that. You're never gonna get that here. What last night was beyond that. I have never seen it. Almost unified the country in a way that nothing else could. I've never seen anything like it, where everyone, no matter where you stood on the aisle, no matter if you were the farthest left, the farthest right, sitting down the middle of the fence, everyone came together collectively and said, "Man, one, was that real? Did that just happen?" And two, now that I've realized it actually did happen, what the hell was that? Everybody, no matter who, and I knew, like, that's when it really hit me. When I watched the most staunch, right-wing representatives come on and say, I mean, right after it ended, Rico, they were talking immediately about a replacement. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if we'll ever see anything like it again. No. So last night, it wasn't like you were tuning in for the politics. I think last night what you watched was somewhat historic in a way. I have a feeling that will be in the zeitgeist till the end of time on both sides. Because, you had the Biden moment there, like you just mentioned, but like the other things too, where like at one point in time, they were literally arguing about their golf game. And my immediate thought was, do you know the numbers? Do you know the numbers it would do to have those two go out and play 18 against each other?
It would be something.
That was my first thought. My first
thought was carry your own bags.
Carry your own bags. Charge like $30. We could probably cut the national deficit in half if you charged every American $30 to tune in to watch those two play golf. I can't find a single person on the planet who wouldn't be sitting somewhere on their couch dialed in on that. I would love to see it.
You think Trump will take it?
Well, Trump, every time I see a clip of him, he's on the golf course. So I would imagine he's got the upper hand as far as practice is concerned. I would have to think so.
I'll tell you, in that back and forth when they were talking about the 6 handicap and this, that, and you're acting like a child. No, you are. Oh, I said, okay.
The best was like I was with my whole family. Like we were like 20 deep watching this. And the thing is, like, they would ask a question and then the question it would never be answered. It was just right back to something else. That's what it was. It was like ask a question and then the discussion would immediately turn into something that had nothing to do with like the question would be on the screen. And then someone in my family would be like, wait, this has nothing to do with, and I'm like, yeah, no, I know. I don't know what's
moderator would come in and be like, all right, so none of you guys answer the question. Kennedy. Something else. Here's an over under for you. Joe Biden. 125-yard drive.
See, this is the thing. Like, I am the worst golfer on the planet, but my buddies are like obsessed with it. So I'm talking to them and they're saying like a 6 handicap is damn good. And so they looked it up and there's like a database that has all these people's handicaps apparently. And Trump claims to be a 2 handicap, which I think is like bordering pro level. So I have no idea.
I don't know what these handicaps are. I don't know what they mean.
I don't either.
What they stand for.
I don't know. But get Scotty Scheffler and get Bryson DeChambeau. Have them each team up with one of these guys. Go out and play. Do it like someone said. Do it for charity. I tell you, it would be the biggest event that this country has ever seen.
Listen, the Tory says, "Yo, Trump's a good golfer, and Biden's legs wouldn't last about 5 holes." Listen, you got to do 18 holes, bro. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
how hot is it? What time of the day is this? There's a whole bunch of things that would play out. But altogether, that debate, if you will, man, listen. The pundits are gonna pick that thing apart. They're gonna look for some good points, some bad points. You guys have a tough decision to make. Americans, y'all got a tough decision to make. Whatever side you decide to go with, y'all got a tough decision to make because you saw the display. But anyway, we had to touch on that slightly.
Well, and you want to know what I'm thinking last night, Rico, while I'm watching it? I'm thinking to myself, is it football season yet?
Oh.
Like, you know what I'm thinking to this is what I'm sitting there and watching. I'm like, man, I could use a bill. Like last night, it's like I could use the shittiest Thursday night football game in existence right now. Like I could use a Panthers Titans color rush game.
Hey, put some respect on the Titans, man. I think they're gonna be good. They're gonna be good.
Exactly.
They're gonna be good. Listen, man, this is peak offseason. Like we were talking, folks. We've got weeks before we get any type of football. We've got the NHL just ended. Obviously, the Edmonton Oilers fell short. I really thought they were going to put that thing together.
So did I.
I thought they were going to do it, go four in a row, and that's the beauty of sports, man. Both teams wanted it. You saw it. You it's peak sports. And I'm not a hockey guy, but that was actually I was tuned in. I was actually tuned in. Like, all right, let me see what's going on with this game 7, because I mean, you don't really get those often. That's one of the better performances we've seen. Kudos to the Panthers, the hot state of Florida winning championships. Like that's craziness, yo. Kudos to them, man. Oilers came close. There was a rumor, Boston Pizza. We got a chain of Boston Pizza out here, and the chair or the owner of Boston Pizza was like, if the Edmonton Oilers beat the Florida Panthers, I'm changing the name of the franchise to Edmonton Pizza. Edmonton Pizza is going to be it. Y'all got to win it.
That's a big bet.
Like, golly, I was like, this guy's ready. He's all in. And they fell short. So Boston Pizza remains. That's what it's going to be. But
I was like you. I was thinking the momentum was so far on Edmonton's side. I mean, after that 8-1 game, like I knew with the Mavericks, even though they beat in game 5, they beat the Celtics by like 40. I knew the Celtics were still taking that. I mean, there was no question about it.
Oh, yeah.
There's something about that 8-1 win for the Oilers that made me think, man, they got a chance. And they sure as hell did. They would pile on top of that. They would go on to win the next 2, and they were the dominant team in all 3 of those games leading into game 7. And they just could not put anything together offensively in that game. They immediately matched that first goal from Florida. Like they scored 2-3 minutes right after that, and they never scored again. Now they made it really close at the end, had some great chances, put the puck on net. Obviously McDavid walks away with the MVP of the playoffs. They played terrific, and they were in that game, of course, until the end, and they could have tied it if Bobrovsky wasn't standing on his head towards the end. But I had just felt the way that things were going. And I think a lot of Florida fans, just based on the sentiment I was getting online, they had felt like they were cooked too. They didn't think they could bounce back, but credit to them. I can't imagine being put in a tougher spot to win it than having a 3-0 lead, blowing it, and then having to win it in that final game. It was the only game of the series that was a 1-goal game. So credit to Florida. You know, like you said, it must be nice to be a part of one of these cities that constantly has all of their teams vying for, you know, something, it seems like, at all times. And that's why I was rooting for Edmonton, because it's kind of like Buffalo a bit, where
in a way,
well, you haven't won in so long or ever. And that's what the city revolves around. And to have been able to have won like that, it would have been historic. I think that's why everybody was dialed in. It wasn't because it was hockey. It was because you were watching history potentially unfold. But hey, credit to Florida, backs against the wall, and they pulled it off. So now we are strictly baseball. And I know Bartek keeps saying there's soccer. There is.
I'm sorry. There is. Listen, we ain't. Don't you dismiss soccer? You're about to say I'm sorry. We just don't do soccer. No, sir.
Do you? You get into that?
We love soccer. We love soccer. We love football. So is what some real folks would say.
Yeah.
And for those that do follow, right now Spain is king right now. They're doing it right now. They're first place in their Group B. and they're rolling. Germany's always a powerhouse. They always do well. There's no question about that. And listen, Ronaldo and the Portugal lost to Georgia. That was tough to watch, and they're bagging on Ronaldo. I don't know. You're not a big football guy, soccer guy.
Well, he's almost on his way out, though, Ronaldo,
he's
right?
Pushing 40.
Yeah.
He's pushing 40. So this is his last go around. I think we'll see, and we'll go from there. But they're still a good team. It's just that it's one of those situations where it's going to come down to the wire. The Euro Cup is always fun, always fun.
I always loved the Women's World Cup, but the men's have never been good enough for me to like get interested or get like excited about it. They lost to Panama, I know, yesterday. I think if they had like a run like the women's did, I would definitely be interested. I love watching the World Cup, but like this other stuff, I can't find myself getting into it. But I know a lot of people certainly are right now.
I'm loving every bit of it. I know my Bartek, his Polish team is had a bit of a struggle. But listen, man, this is football, man. This is soccer. Things change. It's all about control and get the possessions and strike when you can. That's what you got to do, man. So shout out to the Euro Cup. It's going down right now. The round of 16, and we'll go from there. I wouldn't say I got a bone to pick, but I mean, Canada is known for hockey. Like, this is what they do here. They breathe hockey. You can't even, like, that's the sport here is hockey. There's no question. Over there, the United States, I mean, you guys pretty much run things when it comes to football. Americans, if you put the right team together, y'all are clean house. And there's a junior league world team, and the U.S. team absolutely got smashed. They got their asses handed to them. I think it was by the Japanese.
Japan. I don't know what that was, but I don't even know how that's possible.
Steamrolled you boys. They steamrolled you boys. And meanwhile, the Canadians are just running amok. I think they beat Brazil like 103-0. We got some ballers in Canada. I'm telling you right now, we got some players in Canada. Now, the one thing I will give you guys credit for is you got teams putting all world squads together, right? The Americans, you guys put like certain counties together or certain areas. Like I remember I played Team Canada football. I'm not trying to toot my horn. I'm just trying to explain that I played in this. And it was back in I was like 18, 19. And we went to Houston, Texas. And they put a team of Texas high school players together. We had all of Canada. I'm on the squad. I'm playing running back. And we beat the Americans in a I guess a quick 8 quarters of time, 8 minutes per quarter, and we whooped them. We're like, okay, this is great. If you make it to the championship, it's a full-on game. And we played the Americans again, and boy, did they pour it on us. When I watched this and I'm watching the Americans get steamrolled, I was like, I get it. It's a small portion of where they're at, but man, they got somebody in the comment section were like, of course they lost. They got a white DB playing. Of course they lost. What are you kidding me? I was like,
do you know who was playing? Like, who was out there? Was it college? Like what was that?
I think they're high school kids or just the end of like senior kids. I'm not too familiar. I think it's under 20.
Oh, okay.
It's under 20. But man, you think about if the Americans put all the best under 20s, I don't think it would be even close. But it's under 20, and Japan just put the beats. But Japan look good, man. They look good. I'm not gonna cap. They look good. But yo, America, stand up, man. You guys can't let these boys roll all over you like that. That's craziness. But hey,
I was stunned. I didn't know what it was, but the fact that Japan could beat, the fact that anybody really could beat America in football was stunning to me. I mean, I don't know what that was, but definitely shocked me.
If this is true, this makes sense. Japan was full of American military kids, because that's where I thought I saw like a couple brothers on that squad. I was like, or maybe just my image on my screen wasn't working. I was like, did I see a couple brothers on the team? Maybe not. But yeah, maybe they might be right. Listen, Bo C, you might be right. You might absolutely be right with that. But yeah, big shout out to the under 20. I guess the national team that's going on right now. The Americans, oof, y'all need to bounce back. I don't know if you guys are eliminated. I haven't been paying attention too much, but y'all got steamrolled. But let's stick to football. Let's kind of go back into it. So you read an article.
Yeah.
You read an article.
I don't know if that's what you can call. I don't know what necessarily this can be defined as. I read something. I read something, and I've been reading a couple of things lately. It's kind of in conjunction. The last week here, there's been a couple of things that have come out and discredited who everybody knows is my man, my boy, the guy outside of Josh Allen that I think could be considered the heartbeat of this team. I think maybe the heartbeat of this defense, especially now that you've lost Jordan Poyer, potentially Micah Hyde, the guys that have been the cornerstone of this defense. I think this defense now goes through my man, Matt Milano. And within the last few days here, I've seen a couple of things that have really tried to discredit what Matt Milano is. And I bring this up all the time because, as we know, in Buffalo, Matt Milano is Matt Milano. And when you hear him, you think one of the best linebackers in the league. But what I always think, too, is a guy who's never gotten his fair due. He finally got that all-pro bid the year before last, and deservingly so. I finally felt like it was his moment to be recognized as the guy that we have seen him as for a long time now. But it felt like outside of Buffalo, no one has ever looked at Matt Milano the way we do. And I still feel that way. And it's clear that others do as well. And we have been talking as soon as last week about when, the fact that when he's back healthy,
can't wait,
in conjunction with Terrell Bernard, this could be potentially one of the best linebacking cores in the league. In fact, last year, early on in the season, you could argue it was until Matt Milano went down, and of course Bernard went down as well, but they were on an all-time clip, forcing turnovers, just absolute dominance in the middle of the field. And we know that was a big Achilles heel for the Bills to try and fill in. Last year, the void was felt when Milano went down, and of course when Bernard went down, it was just adding insult to injury. Right. So there's an article that comes out, Rico, from Bleacher Report, and Matt Milano in this article was considered to be, now the article was going through analyzing potential players that teams could move off from about a year from now, after this upcoming season. And the article found that the right choice for the Bills, out of anybody else you could have possibly picked, this article felt that the top cut candidate for the Buffalo Bills was Matt Milano. Now, to me, this just makes absolutely zero sense for a variety of reasons. One, when he's on the field and healthy, he's one of the best linebackers in the whole league.
Yes.
But not only that, if you were to cut him, you take a massive dead cap hit. So essentially what you would be doing is cutting what I find to be probably your best defensive player right now. You'd cut him. And then you would be
$10 million.
Yeah. You would be taking a financial burden on to do so. So this is the sign that we've reached peak offseason to me. When you're starting to see articles like this come out, it's when you know, my God, we need the pigskin kicked off ASAP, because it's stuff like this that makes you want to pull your hair out. And this wasn't the only thing, because Rico, on top of this, there was another thing that came out ranking the top 10 linebacking units in the league. And the Bills didn't even crack the top 10. We've been sitting here arguing about when healthy, they could be one of the best, if not the best in the league. I think we saw it on display earlier in the year, last season. In conjunction with this article this past week that came out, there was another list that came out. I believe it was from PFF, ranking the top 10 linebacking units in the league. The Bills weren't even on the top 10. So my question to you, Rico, how much are these linebackers on the Bills, in particular Matt Milano, who has proven, we know Bernard has been, he was great, but he's still got a long way to go to prove himself and solidify his stature in this league. But Milano, I mean, the disrespect, do you think it's just because people don't know him, or do you think there's something else there? How do you view all this? Because it makes no sense to me.
Well, let's put things into context. I mean, there's not much context in this actual cutting of Milano, but the context in terms of the time period of where we're at right now. We already know what time it is. Listen, for all podcasters, for content creators, especially in a specific sport like football, right now there is absolutely nothing. So you've got to be creative and drum up topics and debatable topics, if you will, or pretty cool articles to talk about to fill time. And this is a dead period. It's like, what do we talk about? What are we into? So, okay, let's talk about cut candidates. Well, there's also the aspect of, well, what's going to make people read? Right? What's gonna grab someone's attention? Some folks might call it clickbait, right? What can I get these guys to click and entice them into reading these articles? So when I saw this article and I'm reading on who the candidates are, and I'm like, Matt Milano, what the hell is he doing here? I was about to shut it down, but I wanted to see what reasoning they have behind it. And if you're removing someone, you replace that person with someone. So I'm like, I'll be interested to see who they replace Matt Milano with if they cut him. So I'm reading the article. And so, yeah, you got to get rid of Matt Milano because he has been injured and he hasn't been, you know what I mean, a guy that you could count on to stay healthy. Mind you, good point. See, the last 4 years he's been injured two of the 4 years. But when he's on, he's on. Anyway, let's move forward. Who did they say this is going to replace him? They said Dorian Williams. And I'm like, I don't mind Dorian Williams as a player. He's still got to develop. You can't just tell me you go cut one of the better linebackers when healthy to throw in a rookie that is unproven and it hasn't really shown much in the time that he's been on a team right now. So cut the cap. You can't be talking greasy like that, but I understand the time of year. Now, as for if this unit is healthy, of course they're one of the best in the game. Bernard he's budding. He's going to be a budding star in this game. And he's making a name for himself. Milano has already made a name for himself. He just got to, if he stays healthy, boy, that's a unit right there. That is a unit. But I also have to understand that this is the time of year that you got to drum something up to talk about. But to put Matt Milano on the chopping block, fam, that's crazy talk, man. That's crazy. You could have picked another player. You could have picked anybody but Milano on this squad. And I would have said, okay, you got some. Like, give me somebody right, and we could talk about it because I wanted to talk about people on the roster bubble, right? But they needed to grab a name that could really get someone going. But that one I disagree with wholeheartedly.
Well, and the worst part was it wasn't like they did a cut candidate for every team. Even it was just 5 cut candidates around the league, and they still decided to choose him.
Yeah, we go to Milano.
I still wouldn't understand it, but maybe there'd be a bit more credence to the idea of going around all 32 teams and then trying to get clickbait from that. But the fact that you go around the league and you only have 5 choices and one of them is one of the best linebackers in the league when healthy is crazy to me, especially when the team would have to undergo a pretty significant financial burden to get rid of them as well. And then you go to the top 10 list and, PFF, it's interesting because at times it feels like PFF's a great resource and at other times it leaves you scratching your head as to how they come to the conclusions because they didn't have the Bills as a top 10 linebacking core. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find 4 better ones in the league when these guys are healthy, yet they don't have them in the top 10. And then to double down on that, they had Milano last year ranked as the 4th best linebacker, but they didn't even have Terrell Bernard in their top 32. So I'm wondering if it's more of an unknown around the league type problem than it is an actual talent problem. I understand Bernard gets hurt last year and you forget about it. I mean, you see this all the time. I think Joe Burrow suffered this when we were talking about lists being made for quarterbacks or lists being made for team hierarchies in the power ranking. You see the Bengals fall back a lot in this. You see Burrow start to fall back a bit. Yep. And it's all based on recency bias. When somebody gets hurt, right, that's the problem. So maybe that's what it is. But we always like to be the people to let you know when it's forgotten that these guys are studs, in particular Matt Milano, because we've been pounding the table on him for the longest time. And that's why I was so stoked to see him get that all-pro nod, because it just felt like outside of Buffalo. And, for reasons that I personally value, it's probably a good thing because he's not somebody that is out in the spotlight. You never really hear from him unless it's,
that's fact.
Hopefully necessary. I mean, it's the things I like about a guy who's going to be the leader of this defense. But for as good as he is, man, you just never hear his name get brought up. And the fact that he's disrespected twice to me in the last 2 weeks, being left off a top 10 list and then being considered a cut candidate. I mean, if you wanted to say top 5 trade candidates, okay, maybe. Fine, at least you can make an argument because there would be value there.
Nice.
But holy hell, I just don't get it. And it's funny because just a week ago or so, we were talking about the fact that when these guys are back healthy and on the field, it's going to elevate this team to another level. We saw it last year. And if that team in the Buffalo Bills can maintain a healthy linebacking core, the defense that we've come to rely on under Sean McDermott is just that much better and are a real tough force to go against, especially in the pass game, because Milano's one of the best covering linebackers in the league. And last year in only 4 games, picked the ball off twice, a couple of batted down balls as well. God knows what they would have done if they were healthy together all year long. And it's one of the reasons why we're excited for this season, having him back and, of course, having Bernard back as well. So it's that time of year right now, June 28th, as we sit here, where, my God, you're like you said, it's just something to grasp on and throw out there for people to talk about, because there is just nothing going on that just makes you crave actual football that much more.
It's so funny that you bring this up, because as we're sitting here debating on, okay, Milano being cut, that same PFF that you just mentioned was also talking about Milano, our cornerback room. Actually, if you go on the Instagram, our Buffalo Fanatics Instagram page, you'll notice that if you pay attention, we have one of the better cornerback rooms in the league. And I'm gonna try to cut up and put an image up here to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm referring to. But folks, we can't sleep on this cornerback room. At first, I was out, and shout out to my man Bobby that kind of started throwing some things around. Listen, there's a legitimate, I don't know if it's going to properly show up here, but we have a top 3 unit. We have one of the better cornerbacks in the room. If you think about it, look at in this top 20 ranking of cornerbacks, we have 3 cornerbacks that are in this top 20 list. That alone makes us one of the more dangerous and one of the more efficient secondaries in the room. Bedford was voted number 1 cover corner when it comes to zone. So he's definitely in that top 10. In that top 20. Christian Benford is actually ranked number 8. If you scroll on down, you got Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas ranked 11. And then don't go too far down, because then you got Teron Johnson that's ranked 17th. So you got 3 corners that are sitting here that you can viably say, like, listen, don't sleep on these Bills, man. We got a cornerback room that is damn solid. You got a guy that's coming up in Benford. You have a guy that's been around the league that knows where to be and around the football, and that's going to his 2nd year with the Bills, can only get better. And Teron Johnson's an all-pro. Bro, that's a good unit. Coach Babbage has I swear, man, he's going to have this defense humming, man. He's going to have this defense really doing good things. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. But it all comes back down to this. The chopping block and the conversations being had, it's the offseason. And how much credence do you put into PFF grades? I know some folks, they swear by it, and some folks could care less about it. Well, it only works when they're talking about old linemen. It only works when they're talking about cornerback room. Listen, it's either you use it or you don't. I'm one that I take it with a grain of salt. I use it all. And based on what they see, this is how they rank it. We'll go from there. But I very interesting nonetheless. But Milano being chopped on the chopping block, choose somebody else. You could have chosen anybody else. You could have even said, you know what? Listen, who do we bring? Curtis Samuel might be on the chop block if somebody, give me somebody else that's more realistic. My Milano being cut, nah. And even Curtis Samuel, me saying Curtis Samuel is kind of wild. So,
well, and back to just like the ideas surrounding these lists and whatnot. I think a lot of times for the Bills, they are a victim of not having household names, and that's why I thought, the loss of Stephon Diggs would be felt more than just on the field, because Stephon Diggs was the 1B to Josh Allen's 1A in regard to the face of the franchise. When you thought of the Bills, you immediately think of Josh Allen, and then you thought of Stephon Diggs. And of course, we're hoping that Keon Coleman will be the replacement of that. But the Bills lost significant marketing value, significant face of the franchise type value when they lost Stephon Diggs. But what people forget, and this is the reason why I think that this stuff matters, is what people forget. And that's the Bills have a lot of great players on their team that aren't guys that are well known around the country as far as household names are concerned. And this cornerback list is a perfect example, because you have Christian Benford, similar to Terrell Bernard, where you're like, wow, I can't believe that this is what we're getting out of this guy. He's only in his 2nd year last year, and he's absolutely phenomenal. Like you said, he was one of the best cover corners in the entire league last year.
Right.
So you have him on this list, 3 Bills in total. Teron Johnson, which shocks me, Rico, going into his 7th year, all with the Bills. I would not have guessed that. It does not seem like that. We all know that Teron Johnson is famous for the pick 6 in the playoffs on Lamar Jackson that had sent the Bills to the AFC Championship. That was his crowning moment. But before that, it wasn't like Teron Johnson was even a guy in Buffalo that you were relying on, or a guy that you felt like, oh, this is going to be one of the better players on this defense. And ever since that moment, Rico, where he could have kind of faded into obscurity, he only got better and better and better. And then, of course, turned into an all-pro, like you mentioned. What's wild to me is you'd think a guy like Teron Johnson with a signature play like that, going into his 7th year, all with the Bills, and has only gotten better and better and better. He's still not a guy outside of Buffalo that many people know. And then you have Rasul Douglas. A lot of people just wrote him off because he was basically, last year when the Bills brought him in thinking, well, this guy's basically damaged goods at this point in his career. The Bills take him in for next to nothing, and he comes in and absolutely dominates as one of the best years of his career and resurges what many people thought was a career on its way out. So you have 3 guys right there. I'd venture to believe, Rico, all 3 of those guys, at least 2 of the 3, if you were to survey a very casual NFL fan, they would not be able to list all 3 of those guys. And that's where the issue comes from. When you talk about these best cornerback groups, and this is what I do like about PFF at times, they take everything into account. Because I feel like if you were to just survey a random person and they were to give you their top units, the Bills might not make the cut because these guys just aren't that well known. But when you get down to the nitty gritty and what they actually bring to the table, it doesn't matter. And that's why this Bills defense has been so incredible under Sean McDermott, and why I try as much as I can to give credit to Sean McDermott. Gotcha. Because he takes these guys that no one knows outside of Buffalo seemingly and has them playing all pro style football all over the field, whether it be in the secondary, up on the line, or in the linebacking core. It's great from top to bottom. And you're watching the departure of several veteran guys on this defense, and you're still not worried because of the depth that they have and the amount of talent that they still have, both young and in the veteran presence as well. So I think it's a victim. The Bills are often a victim of the Josh Allen effect, as I think the Chiefs are too. Like last year, it's always going to be credit to Mahomes and Andy Reid for winning the Super Bowl. That defense and Steve Spagnuolo won the Chiefs the Super Bowl last year. But that's not the way it's going to be covered. That's not the way it's going to be remembered. That's not the way it's going to be talked about. With these Bills, similar to the Chiefs, the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen effect, when you have such a superstar, these other guys go under the radar. And the Bills have several under the radar guys that should be far from under the radar based on how good they are. This cornerback group right here, a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
That is listen, you couldn't have nailed it any better than that. And listen, we've got a whole offseason. We've got training camp coming through. And once this defense starts really matching the energy of the offense, which they normally do, we're pretty even keel when it comes to offense and defense production. These guys will make a name for themselves. Rasul Douglas, I mean, some folks already know his name. Bedford is only going to surface as one of the better cats that are out there. So I'm waiting to see how that plays out. So it's just a matter of time before they start really knowing who these guys are. Teron Johnson's already a dog. They know that brother. Nice. Safety room, still got names that need to prove themselves a little bit. But overall, let them, I suppose, sleep on this Bills defense, because once we start snuffing some cats out and this defense really suffocating them, it's going to be a different ball game. But I did want to bring up, speaking of the secondary, I want to stay on this topic here. And it comes down to Micah Hyde. I'm not sure if you saw the Micah Hyde news when he was on the podcast with Eric Wood. Were you familiar with that?
You're talking about Micah Hyde.
Micah Hyde, yeah. Micah Hyde he was on the podcast with Eric Wood, former center of the Bills. Let me show you a screenshot here of that conversation. I found that very intriguing.
Well, I know the injury aspect of it was definitely intriguing, especially knowing kind of where he stands and with his future.
That's right. And he spoke on that with Eric Wood. So for those that are not familiar, let me play you guys a clip here and kind of give you guys an idea of where Eric Wood, and obviously great podcast. And he had a good conversation with Micah Hyde. And Micah was quite candid and opened up about his situation and whether he can come back to the Bills. I would love to see him back in the Bills. I don't know about you. How do you feel about, are you saying?
Absolutely. Why not? Why not? What's the harm?
So ship hasn't sailed. What's the harm? Bring him back. Let's have it, right?
Agreed.
I'm with you. So let's kind of take a word to see how he talked about his injury and his potential status.
With your neck deal, is there a severe risk of like long-term damage with the stingers, or is it more, just not wanting to keep irritating something that's obviously already been dinged up before?
Yeah, so I got the fusion on the disc above, but with that comes the pressure from the disc below, and so the disc below has been the one that's been aggravating. Before I got surgery, up in LA with Dr. Watkins, he mentioned to me, "Do you want to continue playing?" And I'm like, "Oh, no brainer, yes." He said, "Well, you can't get a double fusion because the top one is bad, that you need to get something done to even play again, but the bottom one, you're at risk of maybe damaging that even more if you have that, just to fix the top." And so I said, "Oh, I want to keep playing. Let's just fix the top." So, last season rolls around and that bottom one started acting up, and it's like later on down the road, later on in life, eventually, I might have to get that second one operated on, but I was hoping later on in life and not, 2-3 years. So
it is tough. It is tough. And that's a different situation than I was in. For me, it was a little bit higher, so there was no even possible return for a fusion. I would have done the exact same thing that you did if that were an option. And I respect your decision in that. And then now you got to figure out what's best for you and your family.
That is kind of give you a heads up as to what's going on with Micah Hyde. So when you're hearing that, are you more like, oh, maybe just call it his career, bro? Like, we don't want to, don't go sit here and jeopardize what could be a fruitful rest of your healthy life, instead of you walk around like this or hunched over or whatever the case is. So hearing what he had to talk about, does your mindset change? Or are you like, nah, bro, I'll still take him if he wants to play. If he thinks he can play, come on down. How do you feel about that?
I mean, selfishly as a fan, that would be my answer, right? Yeah, come on down. We'd love to have you. Not only the veteran presence, but of course, how great he is when he is on the field. But from the family perspective, from his perspective, the neck is nothing to mess with. And obviously, it's been messed with enough. And at this stage of his career, especially with his partner in crime, Jordan Poyer, being gone, I might consider hanging it up. The problem is it's so hard for these guys to do that. This is their life. Oh, and then all of a sudden it's not. And I just can't imagine how tough that is, especially when the decision really isn't that easy, because it's not just, hey, I'm like Tom Brady, for instance. Brady could still be playing right now if he wants to, and he knows it. And that's why it was so tough. Yep. But at least he was able to decide for himself. What's tough about these situations is, yes, technically the decision is still yours, but it's more based on your long-term health and how this is going to affect not only who you are as a person moving forward, but of course your family's life as well. And that's what I feel like has to be the toughest element of all of this, is not necessarily being able to do it on your own terms. Even though technically it is, you have reasons beyond the football field to hang it up. So the way I see it, I'd love to have him back. But when it comes to an injury surrounding the neck that's already been aggravated enough, and hearing about the idea of him having to get operated on again moving forward already, much less adding another season to it, if I'm him and I'm sitting around with my wife and kids and I'm trying to make a decision here, I'm probably leaning towards hanging it up. But, would love to have him back. Obviously, it just feels like all the pieces have laid themselves down to lead to the decision to hang it up. I feel like the final straw there, to me at least, I played with Jordan Poyer, who was my best buddy for the last 7 years, and we were arguably the best safety tandem in the league, and he's no longer a Bill now. And I feel like if you needed one more incentive to just say, hey, we're going to go out together, then that would probably be it. The interesting thing to me here is we're about to hit July, and we have no idea what what Micah Hyde's going to do. It seemed inevitable right when the season ended and then free agency hit, and his wife had put out sort of a thank you to Buffalo type thing.
Yeah.
It just seemed very inevitable he wasn't going to come back. And then all of a sudden, time went on, and not only was he not signed by anybody else, but there was no decision at all made as far as his playing career is concerned. And now we still sit here about to hit July, and the same circumstance we faced back in the beginning of free agency is still the same today. So that's the most intriguing aspect of it. And to me, Rico, that part of it almost makes me feel like a return could be on the horizon as far into the offseason as we've gotten here without him saying anything.
Right.
Then again, however, you hear that, and I don't know. The way I see it, it might be best for him personally to hang it up. How do you feel?
I think he's holding out where if I don't have to deal with training camp, I don't have to deal with putting my body through something right now. And if you guys need me, and like Mike Edwards comes down with an injury and he can't function, he can't play, or we're really down bad at the safety position. This is where that phone call might be a little bit more enticing than it would be right now. Right now, I'm having an off season. I'm enjoying my family. I'm good. But see, it's funny because that message from his wife that was sent out was almost like an indirect. Maybe it was an indirect message to say, "Babe, hang it up, hang it up." You may not. We've had our conversations, but me putting it out there is more a push towards. It's time to enjoy your family life and so on. What a transition it is to go from doing something your whole life. I honestly feel for these players that are just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, bro. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life, because that's why you can't fault some of the guys for setting themselves up for after football, right? Like a guy like Ocho Cinco, all that, or Chad Johnson, all that, that stuff he was doing while playing, it set himself up pretty good for what he's doing now. Right. Or some people might say like, or Brandon Marshall, right? When Brandon Marshall was doing his thing and he's doing his I am athlete, a lot of these guys transition, right? Sometimes all that stuff he's doing, just focus on football. Bro, once football's over with, it's a lonely life. I remember, was it with Boobie Miles, right? What was the show with Boobie Miles? The movie. I can't think of it right now, but you guys will tell me. When Boobie got injured, when that scene hit me hard, when he was crying with his pops, he goes, "What am I supposed to do now, pops? What am I supposed to do now, pops?" Ooh, that pulled on the heartstring, because you feel him, because like you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this stuff, and now you didn't get to go out on your own terms, and now you're sitting here going, "What am I supposed to do right now?" So Micah Hyde, obviously, he's done well for himself. I'm sure he'll be very comfortable in life, but now it's like, okay, what's my next transition? How do I go about it? So should he come back, bro? It's gonna be tough. I'd say I lean towards you saying, listen, man, just hang it up, bro. It's been good, it's been real. You gave us one good year, you came out, you fought for it, but you're talking about that second disc on the bottom one hurting you. Nah, bro, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it that much, man. It's a young man's game. It's a young man's game.
Example of like how hard it is to hang it up. Like I would have just like Mitch Morse to me. 6 concussions in his career. I figured like if it was over in Buffalo, he would have hung it up. But yet he's going to be playing this coming year in Jacksonville. So it just goes to show you how tough it is to hang it up. Like in a situation like that, to me, I would have figured, man, call it a career. It was great. You had a great run in Buffalo. You were there throughout the entirety of Josh Allen's tenure there, and now it's come to an end. But no, he's picking up and moving all the way to Florida and playing another year in Jacksonville at the least. So that just goes to show you how tough it is to hang it up. Despite all of the reasons to hang it up, it's still that hard to do because it's your entire life that you've dedicated it yourself to. And when it's over, it's over. And you're not getting that back. And it's incredibly tough to go through. I can only imagine. And you see perfect examples all the time of how tough it really is to make that decision.
Listen, ask Roy Jones Jr. how it is. He was a boxer in the 90s. That was that dude. And just up to recently, like within 5 years, he's still boxing. Bro, hang it up. He's taking some hits where he's just knocked out clean and he's still fighting. So listen, man, it's hard for athletes to cut it out unless they've found some way to transition. I think the perfect transition, Tom Brady's doing a perfect transition right from playing right into the booth, right? And he's going to be making boku dollars. He's got himself a nice young honey. He's doing his thing. So kudos to him. And Bill Belichick, by the way.
Oh, I was just going to say, man.
I'm sorry. We had to transition. So shout out to Micah Hyde and shout out to our guy Thigh Doc, because I got to give him a big shout out. Thigh Doc called this 2 years ago. He's got an article right now. If you go to buffalofanatics.com, he's got a wonderful article, and just go hit his page up right now. And he pretty much laid it out. He called it, this isn't good. And if he's getting a second opinion and he's not sure, this could be something that shortens his career. And he nailed it. He's bang on. The brother never misses, man. So shout out to my guy Thigh Doc. You nailed this one. But what a wild transition we're about to make, because Bill Belichick is living his wild life. He's living his good life. I think this boy he's 70, 75?
I think he's 72.
72. And he's still getting it in. My guy. And some might say, listen, man, this young lady is just there for the bread. She's there for the money. It certainly ain't for his personality, because that boy dry as up. He's dry as a mug, man. So good on him, man. He's doing what he's got to do.
Is it good on him? Is it like I couldn't with a clear conscience do this? I don't understand it. Like even me, say Caroline and I had never met. I'm 27. Like I couldn't even date a 21-year-old. I would just feel weird about it. This is insanity to me. This girl that's dating is 3 years younger than
insanity. That age gap is insanity. Dude, him and that lady. I mean, there's some people right now are probably dating someone 10 years younger, maybe even 15 years younger. It's about when you meet each other in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it works out. But this is a wild age gap. That's a wild age. Where'd y'all meet? That's another thing. Where'd y'all meet?
Damn near 50-year age gap. I mean, think about it like this, Rico. 10 years from now, this would be the equivalent of you dating somebody that was just born when you're 72 years old.
It is pretty wild.
And the other thing too is, like, is a guy as smart as him, how do you not understand, like, whether she's the coolest person on the planet, the best looking person on the planet, whatever, how can you not understand that you're being played like a fiddle here? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I understand the perks that may come with it, whatever, but it is just, it is grotesque to me on both sides.
You know what it is? It's the wife and I talk about this a lot, where like you'll find that like younger women dating older men. Sometimes it happens, and younger and older men like to date younger women because it's just something for them, right? And vice versa. Young women sometimes will go for the younger cat because they're more energy, whatever you want to call it, right? Some of these older cats, like maybe it's just a companion thing. Like, I just want someone to be around. I just want to be around someone, and they fully know it. I know you're probably not as attractive. You can go get someone your age, but I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to take you here and take you there, and we get along, and shoot, stuff happens, bro. It's just what it is, man. Bills fan says, so Z, when you're 65, 59 is too young?
See, that's the thing. No, like this is what's weird about this stuff to me. Like, I'm 27 right now, and 21 would be, I couldn't do it. But if I was 33, I could date a 27-year-old. To me, there's a big gap between being 27 and 21. I know for me personally, the difference in my life from being 21 and 27 is astronomical. I feel like once you get to a certain age, the maturity gap starts to lessen and lessen. So it's different to me. Like that's a perfect example. Like 66 and 59 at that, or 65 and 59 at that point, to me, there's absolutely no difference. So if I was 34 dating a 28-year-old or something like that, I think that makes perfect sense. I could totally get on board with that. But there's a difference between, when you're 25 dating a 19-year-old. I just think that there's differences there. But at the end of the day, as you get older, those like 6 to 10 year gaps, I think that they lessen dramatically. We're talking about a 50-year gap. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio is a guy who gets drilled on this all the time. He's only 55, and he dates people that are 20 years old. This is almost double that gap. This is like your grandparent dating you, like in the sense of age. This would be the equivalent of somebody. This would be the equivalent of your best friend dating your grandfather. Think about it like that. That's the equivalent here.
They say age ain't nothing but a number, brother. It ain't nothing but a number, man. If you're because you've heard the definition. You've heard someone say old soul. There's some people that are like 20.
Okay, fine.
21.
Fine. If he was the most charismatic person on the planet, Rico, I mean, it would still be absolutely nuts to me. But maybe you could be like, oh, maybe he's just a great guy to be around. I mean, Rico, when they're out to dinner, other than the Super Bowl rings, like what are we talking about here?
Bro, he might be the funniest cat ever. You just never know. He might be the funniest dude around, and he doesn't like an audience. He's just like, yo, this is me. All right, you know what's funny? I was asking my mom the other day. We're chatting, and she's in her 60s now. She's in her 60s now, and she was telling me, oh, she tripped and she fell and she scraped her knee, And I was like, oh my God, like, cause I don't live near her. So I'm like, oh, Ma, you okay? You good? You good? She's like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. It's just like, I can't believe that happened. I was like, yo, you're getting older. You got to watch out what you're doing. She's like, pause. I'm older, but my mind is still young. And I was like, well, what you mean your mind is still young? She's like, yo, I still like my mind tells me I'm like 25, 30.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, so Bill, although physically he's in his 70s, yo, his mind is still like a 35-year-old, you know what I'm saying? I can still get it. And his game is probably proper out. You just never know with these men. Hey, man, shout out to Bill. Shout out to those that are dating, you know what I mean? People that are younger than them or older than them, whatever your flex is, whatever your vibe is.
Here's what kills me, though. Imagine this girl was like from Cheektowaga, right? And she's coming home for the holidays, and she's like, hey, guys, I'm bringing my boyfriend home. Oh, and you're the biggest Bills fan on the planet, and you're this girl's dad. In comes Billy B. I mean, what are you doing? This is the conversation I was having with my dad. Like, because my sister is 24, the exact age of the girl that he is dating. And imagine, my sister's engaged or whatever. So let's just say she's single. She lives in Arizona. So say she's out there and we don't know the boyfriend because we're not out there. We don't meet him. We don't know. And she calls home and she says, like, what's around the corner? July 4th. Hey, I'm coming home from the 4th. For the 4th, I'm going to bring my new boyfriend home. And in comes Billy Belly. I mean, I can't even wrap my mind around it. I can't even fathom.
That would be something if Billy B jumps in and my daughter, 21-year-old. I got a 21-year-old.
All right, so you're right around there. So what are you doing?
Bro, first of all, she came home with somebody my age, first of all.
Oh, my God.
I'd be like, all right, okay. What y'all got in common?
You wouldn't want to beat that guy's ass if she brought someone home your age.
Bro, there's scenarios like this every day. I just wouldn't know how to react. I wouldn't know how to react because him and I would have way more in common.
That's true. That's true.
We'd have way more in common. He'd have more in common with my wife than he would with her. Like, I mean,
yeah.
What? I'm like, yo, that's crazy, bro. Have a seat. What am I supposed to? I'm supposed to do the dad thing? Yeah, we're the same age. That'd be wild, man. But times have changed.
Hey, maybe she'll still be around when the inevitable happens, like we were talking last week, and Bill Belichick becomes the head coach of the Bills and wins a Super Bowl. Maybe she'll be out there on the field taking the ring with him.
I'll tell you, man. And listen, we're talking about like when I told you guys, my mom still feels like she's like 25, 30 in her mind, right? Body's getting older. I think we all feel that way in a sense, right? We still feel like we could do certain things, but like our bodies is telling us, no, you can't do that. Even walking up the stairs, sometimes I'm walking upstairs, I'm like, oh, there goes a little creak in my knee. I was like, what's going on? I'm not getting active enough. That's the problem, right? So, man, agent number.
Well, hey, this just in, by the way, an article 4 hours ago.
What's up?
Via mail, a Daily Mail out in the UK. And she's 23, by the way, not 24. So I was another year off. It is literally almost to the year, a 50-year age gap.
Laura, you're right. Go on.
Bill Belichick's girlfriend spotted driving to cheerleading practice in $75,000 Porsche gifted to her by NFL legend. So there you go. You needed another, proof as to what's going on here.
Hold on. My daughter wants to ask me something. Well, come here. Come here. Get over here. Were you shy? Listen, so this girl got a gift card. Come here. Come sit for a sec. She got a gift card, $50.
Nice.
She's got $70 cash, okay, up in her wallet. 50. You want to talk to the mic? Because you like stealing the show.
Yes, I have $50,
Here
actually.
We go. She's got
50 cash, 50 gift card. Okay.
Got 50 cash, 50 gift card. All right. So I said, well, listen, you can't find your gift card because she's going to the mall with her friends tomorrow. So she's like, I'm looking for my gift card. I can't find my gift card. It's got all the things I can go and do at the mall. So I was like, well, just use your $50. And then later on, you'll find your gift card wherever. And then you just use your $50 later. She's like, I don't want to use my cash. These kids these days, cheapskates. Just use my gift card. Why not?
That's good. No, that's a good way to be. That's a good way to be.
She can't find the gift card.
Because if I use my gift card, then technically it's free because I don't have to use my
It's the same mindset I have. It's the same. Gift card is fun coins. The cash is real deal. When the cash is gone, it's gone. When the gift card's gone, who cares? You can only spend it in one spot.
Well, she can't find the gift card. So she's like, help me find it. They've been looking for it all day. What you want me to do? You're going to have to use the cash, baby.
This happens all the time. The amount of gift cards I probably had that still had money on them that I just lost, it's got to be ridiculous. It happens all the time. But the gift card, the mind behind the gift card is interesting. The psychology behind it. You'll spend it like it's, you know what I mean? Like you're a millionaire.
Free
Because
money,
it doesn't
baby.
mean anything.
Where can I go? Where can I go? So she can't find it. So I'm like, you're gonna have to use cash.
Hey,
Unless
it's a good thing she's a cheapskate, though. It's a good thing. That's a good way to be at a young age. Usually it's the opposite.
Bro, she's always trying to make me use my money for her while she's got her money sitting here. She's like, I'm just trying to save it. Girl, I mean, listen, save it. And now you've saved it to use it. So go ahead and use it. I just don't like when they waste it on stuff that's like, yo, you could chill. She's going to the mall. It's perfect. Go spend your money. I can't find my gift card. Girl, you better look for it. Because I ain't just going to give you spot you 50 just so you can save your other 50.
I mean, she could be smarter than you think. She could know exactly where that gift card is and still trying to get that 50 spot.
Well, listen, you ain't gonna fool me. Let's hit this this other topic here because we're talking about my daughter just came and we're talking about kids, family. Speaking of family, Bronny James,
man, oh man,
Bronny James. For those that have been living under a rock, LeBron James' son, Bronny James, has been drafted by the LA Lakers in the second round with pick 55. And this is going to be, it's historic because it's going to be the first time a father and son are actively playing together on the same team. First time ever. And people are losing their minds. They don't like it. They don't like it one bit. This is what they're saying is a case of nepotism. You're only on this squad because your daddy's on the team. And it very well may be true. It very well may be true, but there's nepotism everywhere in all of sports. Bill Belichick had his son on the squad. Like how many? Listen, you had who else was a father-son duo at one point coaching? I mean, if you know someone,
Shanahan's a perfect example.
For crying out loud, that's just what it is. So obviously, it's a slight difference, but there's nepotism everywhere, right? So. What's the big deal with people? Why are people making this such a big deal of Bronny getting to hang out with his pops? I'll tell you this on my end, right? I lost my pops when I was 9. So if there was a way that I could find a way to like do something that we both love together professionally, folks should be celebrating that. Celebrate. This is amazing. You get to see this. And what better place for Bronny to go than to go with someone that knows him extremely well, and that's his dad. He knows his weaknesses. He knows his strengths. He knows how to motivate him. Like, bro, second round draft pick, bro, what's the issue? What is the problem with him on the squad? I'll tell you what the problem is. He averaged 4.5 points per game, hardly played. He's not that good. He's only 6'1". Now, in my opinion, I think he should have stayed one more year in college. I personally, so just so he can work out, get bigger. I mean, maybe he hits a growth spurt, who knows? But to me, like why people are hating on this situation, I don't get it. It's a perfect scenario. Are you in the mindset of, bro, this is some BS. This is some BS. Or are you like, yo, I love this. This is great. What are your thoughts?
This is interesting because a lot of people like to immediately go to nepotism, which is alive and well in the majority of the most lucrative businesses in this world. That's just the way it is. I am all about nepotism if the nepotism involved results in great talent, great work. I'll give you an example. Jack Buck, play-by-play announcer for Major League Baseball forever. A legend baseball play-by-play announcer. His son just so happens to be Joe Buck, who I think is one of the best play-by-play guys in history. More than fine with me. Marv Albert, one of the greatest NBA and play-by-play guys of all time. His son, Kenny Albert, does the NHL and the NFL. He's phenomenal. Fine by me. Ian Eagle, one of my favorite guys right now. His son does the games that when they're on Nickelodeon and stuff. He's good. Fine by me, right? When it comes to getting great talent from the branch in which allowed this person to get the job, I'm fine with it. Kyle Shanahan, another great example.
Yep.
Both him and his dad will be Hall of Fame coaches.
Doc Rivers, Austin Rivers.
Exactly right. Like, it's fine by me. So, to me, there's a couple of ways to look at this. I want to talk initially about what I think the biggest issue is here. The biggest issue to me is I think within a 2-week time span, the Lakers were about to hire Dan Hurley, one of the best college basketball coaches in recent memory. On the precipice now that he's staying at UConn to do something beyond historic, win 3 straight national championships coming off a back-to-back with UConn. They get him out to LA. It would be a generational hire for these Lakers. It would be huge. And it would be an emphasis on the future, not the present. Because the Lakers have been stuck in the present, or at least a lot of people think this way, because of LeBron James knowing that his time is limited. They're doing the most to capitalize on having LeBron James on the team. So they fly Dan Hurley out. They make him what a lot of people view to be a pretty mediocre offer financially. He doesn't take the job. He leaves, and he's going back to UConn, which I thought was a baller-ass move. To be able to turn down coaching for one of the most historic franchises in sports with one of the greatest athletes of all time to stay in Storrs, Connecticut, and coach UConn, to me, was one of the biggest baller moves of all time. But he turns it down.
It was ballsy. Definitely ballsy. Yeah.
And so what do the Lakers do? They turn around and hire J.J. Redick, who's never been a head coach in his entire life. He's coming off the analyst booth at ESPN, and he's LeBron James' podcast host. And immediately people think that he has no credibility to get this job. To me, that's worse than nepotism, because that hire essentially tells you it was a hire for LeBron James. It's a hire for now. And what happens if LeBron James hangs it up next year or the year after? Is J.J. Redick going to be the solution long-term? A lot of Lakers fans don't think so. They think that hire was strictly based on appeasing LeBron James. So you do that. You lose out on Dan Hurley. Everybody thought you were going to get him when no one even thought he was in the running. Then you hire J.J. Redick, never been a coach before, LeBron James podcast host. Then a few days later, you use your second-round draft pick to draft LeBron James' son, who barely played at USC. And when he did, he averaged, a couple of points a game. It's clear he's obviously not going to be the talent, or is the talent, that his father was. So I understand why a lot of people have an issue with it. But here's where I don't see the issue. It'd be different if it was like, I don't know, say Austin Reeves was LeBron James's age and he wanted to play with his son. You're probably not going to do it, right? Let's say that you're, I don't know, like a mid-tier wide receiver in the NFL, or like say for instance, Frank Gore was still playing because his son, as we know, right? Yep. Say he was still playing. I don't know if you're going to do all you can to go and make sure you draft Frank Gore's son to appease Frank Gore. LeBron James is 101.
But the Bills kind of did that.
I know
it. Wild.
But it wasn't like it was done to appease the current player, the current face of the franchise.
Okay, I'm listening. Go ahead.
This is what this is. But here's why I'm all right with it. Because LeBron James is LeBron James. I mean, there's nobody. He has been the face of, you could argue, sports, not just basketball, for maybe my entire life, or the damn near majority of it. And he's still putting up incredible numbers at this age. Nice. And when he's fresh off the bench, is still playing some of the best basketball in the world, which is just absolutely incredible. If the guy wants to end his career playing with his son, and as just mentioned, great point. This draft class is one of the weakest in memory here. It was a second-round pick. It gets marketing value tremendously for the Lakers, who right now they seem desperate to have it.
Bingo.
The ownership of that Lakers team right now, as we know, they don't have much money outside of the Lakers. Their main revenue stream is the Lakers, Jeannie Buss and company. That's their main golden goose right now, and it just so happens to be one of the most historic franchises in the world. If you want to appease one of the greatest players to ever do it on his way out by allowing him to do something that nobody has ever done before and grant him that luxury of being able to do something he's always wanted to do, I'm fine with it. I have an amazing relationship with my father. He's going to be my best man in my wedding. Thinking about it from that perspective, if my dad was a pro athlete and I got to play alongside of him, I can't think of anything that would be the cooler in the world.
Ever.
It is the coolest thing that I've ever heard. I understand both sides of it. Where I lean far more towards being okay with it is the fact that somebody like LeBron James has earned it. This isn't undeserved. Like, a lot of people get mad that Giannis's brother, who shouldn't be on an NBA roster, is on the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks. I get that. LeBron is going into year 50? He's more than deserved. And he also has the Lakers in a corner here where he is their team, despite not being the old vintage LeBron James. He's still their team.
Not only that, he's got a 3-year contract that he's like, all right, I'm trying to get a max deal.
And if you don't get him, do you lose him? Right? Because we heard the agent, Rich Paul, there. He was making calls saying, hey, if you draft Bronny, he's going to go play in Australia. He's not going to play for you. So essentially it came down to, I think, 2 teams, right? It was Phoenix or it was the Lakers. So for those reasons, I'm fine with it. But I also understand, Rico, the issue. And what the issue is right now is the state of one of the most historic teams, as I keep mentioning, in sports. And the state of that team right now is they are being controlled by a player who is on his way out. They're being controlled by a player, both from the roster standpoint and now from the coaching standpoint with JJ Redick. And I understand what seems to be a shared sentiment amongst a lot of fans, that it seems like this historic franchise has been taken hostage to some degree. And this is just one more example of that. I do get it. But when I'm looking at it from the perspective of a LeBron James and LeBron James alone, I think that it's awesome. Good for them. Is it deserving? Probably not. But it's more so deserved for LeBron than it is for Bronny. And hey, it's not like Bronny is me coming off my couch going and putting up shots. The guy's still a tremendous athlete, and they'll find ways to get him in here and there. It's not like they're going to go play him 42 minutes a game. So I understand all aspects of this, but at the end of the day, I think out of anybody else maybe in the world that would deserve this, LeBron James probably is that guy.
I like it. I like it for a multitude of reasons, but the thing that stands out to me is like too many players get drafted and put in the wrong situation, and it just never works out because they don't develop these guys well enough. And in 3 years, they're out of the league because we couldn't find a fit. And now they're bouncing around G League. And then the ultimate death blows when you go to China. When you go to Wang, whatever, it's over with. Like, it's very hard to bounce back from. I think who was it? Who was it that bounced back from China that came back? I know Dwight Howard's trying to do it right now. He's begging to try to get back in the league. But once you go to China, it's over with. And a lot of these guys get put into wrong situations and just fizzle out, and it sucks. So you got to go somewhere where you're going to be well developed. Now, the whole it's kind of a weird situation. You go from a JJ Redick coaching your squad now. He went from broadcaster to you go from broadcaster to now being the head coach of the team. Oh, by the way, I'm also a podcast host next to my guy LeBron James. That's kind of weird. But at the end of the day, there are several players, couple players, I would say. Steve Kerr went from broadcast right to coaching and has had success. He knows the game. He's played with the best. Some say with the best in terms of obviously Michael Jordan. Mark Jackson, player turned coach, had great success. I'm still bothered to this day because he got let go way too soon because he had that team buzzing. He was about to have that Golden State Warriors winning whether Steve Kerr came through. Maybe Steve Kerr just changed it just a tiny bit, but players transitioning to coaches has happened. Not only that, this is a player-run league. This is it's not the other. It's like the NFL where the owners kind of run things a little bit. This is a players-run league, right? So LeBron has a lot of leverage. He's been in this thing 20 years, 20 freaking years. So hey, I'm still productive. If I was some bum, y'all would tell me to kick rocks.
Right.
I'm still productive, and I can get the best out of that kid right there. Now the real question now becomes when Bronny gets onto the court, is AD, I don't know if this lineup is ever gonna happen, right? Bronny, LeBron, Austin, AD, and we'll put Huchmar on there, whoever you want to put there. The ball is being swung around, right? And you know what I mean? Hey, AD gets it in the post. Everybody's calling him. Yo, what is Bronny gonna call 23? Hey, Dad, Pops, Daddy, like, what do you like? I mean, are you just doing this? That's gonna be
here. And this, Rico, to me is where I think it gets a little unfair for him. I don't know if everybody's looking at it from the perspective of him. This is where I do find some issue with it. I think it puts him in a really tough spot, Bronny, to succeed. Bronny,
It does.
I understand this appeases LeBron. And I can't think of anything cooler. And it's also extremely cool for Bronny. Like, this is going to be talked about for the rest of time. This is history. This is crazy cool. Like you were looking at all the pictures yesterday of LeBron in his oversized Cavaliers jersey, carrying Bronny in his hands. Like, this is nuts, right? Crazy. But man, does this put a spotlight on Bronny, who shares the name of one of the greatest of all time. Eventually here within the next couple of years, his dad's going to be gone and Bronny's going to be there. what's gonna be there for him to make his own legacy? I don't know how much is there for him to be allowed to carve his own legacy. After this kind of stunt, which this is what it is, Rico, I don't know if Bronny's getting drafted if he's not LeBron James' son. Let's be clear about that. He barely got any playing time at USC, who isn't a power team to say the least when it comes to college hoops. What's the legacy for him going to be? And this is where I find it to be a bit unfair for him because I don't know how this sets him up for success. If anything, it seems to set him up for a lot of scrutiny, which is
I think it sets him up for success. I'll tell you how it sets him up for success. You're playing with your pops, right? So you're going to be the 12th, 13th guy coming off the bench. You may not even see the court, but you are learning. You're developing. You're going to develop. And by the time Bron decides to really hang it up, by then, Bronny will have grown 2 or 3 inches, potentially 4, right? He's now developed a skill. He's a spot shooter. He can shoot. So now he will carve himself a role. And if it's not in LA, it's somewhere else. But at least I got a gift from my dad that I was able to learn and do what I'm supposed to do. So I like this role for him. I'm a big fan of it. And I think this works out well because there's pressure, but there's no pressure. I don't have to just up on the field. And if I'm on the court, it's tail end of the game. Either we're up a lot or we're down bad. And here we go. I'm on the court. So,
but that's what I wonder. Do you think they keep him on the roster all year? Or like, is he going to go up and down from the G League? Like, what do you think they're going to do here? That's the question.
He ain't a two-way player. He's not a two-way player.
See, that's what
Rich Paul said. You ain't gonna make my guy a two-way player. He's on that. He's on the court. He's playing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. My man Handled says, I don't even think Bronny will play on the Lakers. I believe he'll spend most of his years on the G League. I don't think he's going to be spending a lot of time in the G League.
See, that's the thing. Like, I don't think you do this to just sit him at the G League. Like, what's the point of doing it then?
That was why we drafted him, to not go in the G League. Because if that was the case, we go to Australia. That's what LaMelo Ball was like, I'm going to go play wherever I need to play and get my skills up, and then I'm going to come back. And he just had a huge growth spurt. So very interesting. Here's another question for you. So Bron lives at home. He lives at home. So do you get your own apartment now? Do you go live on your own? Do you live with mom and dad? I'm coming home for dinner. Like, how does that part work out? We driving into work. We carpooling together. What are we doing here?
I saw a tweet. It was like via Wojnarowski, Bronny James inactive tonight due to not cleaning his room. Grounded. Like it's just, like that shit is unbelievable. I just hope that both of them cherish every second of this. That's why I live at home. Like I would just try and this probably will never happen again. So if I'm them, I just try beyond anything on the court, playing time, whatever. I try to soak as much of this in as I can on both ends, both him, because I think when LeBron Sr. is gone, is anybody going to care? Because I don't know if Bronny's ever going to be good enough to where everyone's going to be caring about him exclusively. So this is why I feel like you have to enjoy this for what it is, and what it is historic. So I think it's a good question you pose, but I think I would stay together as much as possible and really enjoy something that I think we'll never see again.
Listen, I'll tell you this right now. People don't. I know it's hard to judge because he came out of high school and he had not much production. The guy had a cardiac arrest, for crying out loud. So like a lot of adversity he has to go through, right? He's a shooter. He could shoot, and if you can shoot, if you're a 3-and-D player, yo, you have a lot. You have a hit. You have a future in the league. You could shoot and you play defense, bro. Iverson, I'm not trying to compare the two. I know people are like, you're trying to compare him to Iverson. Iverson was 6 feet. He could D up, and obviously he had a bevy offensive. Like this guy was a king, but he was a small frame. A lot of people thought he wasn't going to make it. How small he was, bro. Don't let that size and all that stuff fool you, man. Can you play up? Can you play D? You know what I'm saying? Are you where you're supposed to be? Are you smart like your pops? If you're smart and you know where you're supposed to be, bro, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. So Bronny will be just fine. I think people making a big deal out of this thing. Let him develop, and you let him, show you what he's really about. And he creeps onto the, up to spot from 13 up to, the 11th guy off the court, the 10th guy on the court, bro. That'd be something. And they got Dalton Connect, and that boy is a player. So my Lakers, some people are kind of disappointed. I know Kevin Gerard is not a fan. He's a Laker fan, but hates LeBron. So he double hates having Bronny on the squad. It is absolutely something else, man. But
well, that's the funny thing is, like, just like everything else in LeBron's career, it's one more coal on the fire for whether you love him or you hate him. Because if you love him, now you can get into the Jordan argument and be like, yeah, I didn't see Jordan playing with his son. But if you hate him, you can be like, oh, nepotism LeBron at his finest, making the Lakers draft his son. So it's like, it's just one more. It's so storybook in regard to his career, like everything else. It's either really great for if you love him or really bad if you hate him.
Absolutely. By the way, Scott, I'm aware he's probably going to be like the last guy come off the roster, maybe 14, 15, may not even touch the court. But I'm saying if he develops well enough, maybe he can creep up into, 12, 11, 10. You know what I mean? You just never know. But he's got time to grow. What is he, like 20?
I think so.
I don't even know how old he is. How old is he?
I think he's 20 years old.
20, man. He's got time to grow. He's got another 3 or 4 years to grow. His dad is 6'8". You know what I'm saying?
He's 19 right now. 19. He's not even 20.
19, dude. LaMelo Ball just grew out of nowhere. So it's going to happen. These guys, I think they'll be all right. They'll be all right. So big shout out to Bronny James going to the Lakers. I'm here for it. I think my man Z-Bot's here for it. He's got a couple things where he's got some questions, but I mean, for the most part, this is good for TV, man. Everybody's going to be tuned into the Lake Show. Is Bronny James going to get on the court? You know what I'm saying? Is JJ Redick going to be the guy that's supposed to be doing it? Is he that dude? Some people sleep on this Lakers team. I don't. You should never sleep on a Lakers team when you got AD and you got my guy LeBron James. And who knows who they might try to bring on to the squad. If LeBron decides to take less money, bring on a star. I know Gordon's available. Man, there's a whole bunch of stuff that can happen. So big shout out to the Lakers. I'll be tuned in. I think we're all going to be tuned in to see how this all plays out. So we shall soon see. Somebody said that the NBA has fallen behind. I totally disagree with this. Let's be real. NBA has fallen behind the NFL, the MLB. Are you kidding me? MLB?
No, definitely not the MLB.
You're nuts if you thought that. NHL
MLB is lacking behind everyone.
Yes. That's wild. WNBA getting more press than NBA. They shooting the moon. Bro, we're in the offseason in the NBA. And listen, the WNBA is still losing money. $50 million a year. And they get more press. Come on, they're getting press for.
And the NBA just got a massive broadcasting deal with NBC and whoever the hell, who else was in on that? One of the streaming services, billions. I mean, certainly not. But it's more of a Lakers situation than anything else. Like someone said in here earlier, there wasn't a whole lot to lose here, and there was probably they know they're not going to gain anything on the field. But man, people are going to buy Bronny James's jersey. Like you said, people are going to tune in. ESPN is going to have they're going to be, infatuated with this storyline till the end of time, especially now when there's nothing to talk about and it's only baseball. They'll be talking about this for weeks until training camps kick off. Like that, this is good for LeBron or good for the Lakers. It's kind of like, where the comparison often comes where Lakers, Cowboys, like the business end of things, those teams are very good at taking care of business. And that entails doing things that get you clicks, gets you talked about. This is certainly one of those things. And it will be one of those things as long as LeBron is a Laker. That's just the truth.
100%. Before we get into our next topic here, I got a comment coming in from Caroline. We got a Caroline in here says, hey, I'll send you $5 if you bring Rose down to the pool.
I think she's saying Rose. Caroline's trying to get her wine game on at 4 p.m. here, it looks like.
Oh,
it's going to cost more than $5. It's going to cost more than $5.
he ain't biting it. You got to give him a little more than that, my love. You got to get more than that. Walter says, to be fair, Steve Kerr was another guy that was on the broadcast with no coaching experience, and things worked out pretty damn good for him. You damn right he did. You damn right.
Steve Kerr, one of the coolest careers of all time. The amount of rings he won with Jordan, right? Then he had an awesome broadcast career, and then goes on and forms a dynasty with the Warriors. One of the coolest careers in sports history.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with that, man. And I'm a big fan of Steve Kerr. I like him. He speaks up.
I love Steve Kerr.
For things that need to be spoken for, and when it's time to speak, he speaks at the right time. I'm a big fan. Baseball. I can't believe he said baseball is up there. No.
And we're getting dogged on it again. Buffalo Mill said what they just both said. See, this is the thing though. We're not baseball guys. See, people who are baseball guys are which is fine. I mean, baseball. What I will say, and this has come from somebody who's not a baseball fan, I give them a lot of credit for the changes they have made to make the game better, introducing the pitch clock, adding the second base runner and extra innings. They've done a great job of adding to the game. It's just, to me, the baseball season is far too long. And that's where I feel like they they hurt. This is why the NBA introduced the in-season tournament. It's all about urgency. And that's why the NFL has pulled away drastically. It was always in the leader house, at least in my lifetime. But now it's not even close. I mean, it's lapped around the other sports 4 or 5 times by now. And it's because every snap of every game, every week matters just as much as the next. Whereas in baseball, right now, what are the Yankees? They were off to one of the best starts in the league to start the year. Now they've had a terrible last couple of weeks. I think they've lost like 9 of 10 or something like that. A month from now, that doesn't matter at all. Whereas in the NFL, you lose 3 straight, you could be absolutely screwed. So that to me is the biggest difference here. And it's what everybody's trying to strive for, because it's all about relevancy. In the NFL, you don't have to strive for it. Every single thing is relevant.
Yeah, 162 games is that's OD, man. That's OD. But I mean, listen, these contracts that they're giving out to these MLB players is absolute wild, and they're earning it, they're getting it. So some might say that's the sport to try to get into and be good at it, because you can get major boku dollars. And speaking of boku dollars, boku dollars. I don't know if you guys have NFL Sunday Ticket, but y'all need to listen up, because if you decided to be part of the class action lawsuit coming at the NFL for price gouging, if you will, you might be getting into some funds. Now, it might take you a while before you get these funds.
It's going to take you a minute. I promise you.
It's going to take you a minute. So
if you're hoping to be paying rent with that, I hope you got enough to cover the next several years until you get your cash out.
Absolutely. So I took some notes on this so I can kind of better explain as to what's happening, and to give you guys a heads up as to what the word is and what the word on the street is with this NFL lawsuit here. So where is my notes? All right, here we go. So here's the deal, folks. Court case happened in LA, and a decision was made. So if you guys aren't privy to what's going on, pretty much people were saying, "Yo, man, you guys are pretty much gouging us for NFL Sunday Ticket. You guys have raised your price, and this ain't cool. So we on your butt. We're suing. We're suing." So kind of give you the Coles notes of what's going on. So a jury said that the NFL has to pay a lot of, they got to pay $4.7 billion because they didn't follow rules about how they're selling football games to broadcast. All right. So why is it a big deal? Well, it's the amount they got to pay. And it could go to 3 times that. It could go up to $14 billion if everything that works out, $14.39 billion. This is according to ESPN, by the way. So who's involved? Who's part of this thing? So 2.4 million of you guys that are part of this class action lawsuit, and about 48,000 businesses who bought special packages are affected by this lawsuit. So pretty much what people are saying is they're thinking that the NFL is charging way too much for a package, and let alone companies offer it, which isn't fair. It's not fair to have these packages that they're offering. So how's the NFL respond? Right? The NFL doesn't agree, and the jury disagrees with that. So they say that they give fans a lot of ways to watch games, and that they're doing their best. They're giving their best to the fans. And some 2.4 million people say, I disagree. So what's next? What happens, right? So there's more discussions. They're going to appeal. The NFL is going to appeal. Obviously, you know that's what they always do. So here's the nitty gritty, right? What's the costs, all right? So if the NFL has to pay, it could cost each football team, each franchise, $449, we'll call it $450 million to each franchise. All right. So the trial lasted a few weeks, and some of the lawyers are saying the people suing the NFL thinks they did the right thing, and they're protecting the customers, which is fine. You got to do what you got to do to get the money out of this big time corporation that they call the NFL. So evidence showing the lawyer showed a note from the NFL in 2017 that talked about maybe changing how they sell special packages, right? So now in 2023, they've now sold the rights to, I think, YouTube. So This thing has been going on since 2011 up to 2017. If I'm getting this correct.
And it dates back as far as they've had Sunday Ticket, which I believe was started in the late 90s. So we're talking a long time here. 1994 through 2002.
Yes.
Is how long that this has been going on for. It was under DirecTV, now with YouTube TV.
Unbelievable. So what happens to the money? Any money that has to be paid changes to how football games are sold, and a bevy of things have to happen. So this is what happens now. Now other leagues are watching, right? The MLB is watching, NBA, NHL, right? Because they have similar packages, but not the way the NFL did it. The NFL just got greedy, right? So the history of the Sunday Ticket, obviously DirecTV sold the package from 94 to 2022. Now on YouTube TV, they got a new deal in 2023. So I wanted to see how much money can you attain in this lawsuit. I wanted to see how much money you guys can get. And with 2.4 million people that are a part of this lawsuit, to do simple math on how this all works out. All right. So if the lawsuit damages are tripled, all right, under federal antitrust laws, we would multiply the initial individual payout by 3. Here's the calculation. The payout times 3. So the first initial way is total damages divided by the number of subscribers. So 4.7 million if it's the initial lawsuit for 2.4 million people. The payout is $1,900. All right, $1,900. So if you triple that, based on that, if it goes up to $14.7 billion, what I was saying,
would that be for somebody who's had it the entire time it's existed?
The entire time it's existed,
yeah,
pay for it, $1,900. And if it's tripled, $5,800.
There's just no way.
$5,800 coming to you in maybe 3 years, 4 years, maybe 10 years, maybe 16 years. Who knows? It all depends on how the NFL wants to drag this out. Now, here's the thing. This could all go to bed once the NFL comes in and says, we're obviously going to appeal it. Then it goes to Ninth Circuit. And then the judge has to look at it and be like, all right, do they have a case or do they not? And they'll look at everything, and they might just wipe it clean and say the NFL did nothing wrong. They followed the law and da-da-da-da-da. Or they might say, nope, you guys are playing a game here and you guys are gouging these people. You will pay. So it's you guys can have some money coming your way. Don't bank on it. You can't do a whole lot with it. $14.7 billion is a lot of money, but 2.4 million of you guys decided to get part of this lawsuit. And this what's crazy about this is it was a sports bar in San Fran that initially started this lawsuit. Then it got dismissed, and then it got re-picked up again and then reissued and said, no, they got something here, and it's back on, baby, just like that. So big time money, man. These corporations make a lot of money. The NFL makes a lot of money, and you wonder why these players are like, I don't care what you're telling me. How much is my guaranteed money? How much is my guaranteed money? That's all I want to know. You can talk about all the years and this and that. What are you guaranteeing me in my bank account that's going to come to me? That's what I need to know. And the amount of money the NFL is making yearly, and it's the most popular sport in the game right now, bro, the money can be had. So whether they get the lawsuit actually falls through and they get it, you got a little something coming your way. Do you watch football off NFL Sunday Ticket?
Yeah, so this is what interests me, and this is what I hope comes of this. This is what I think comes from this, which is great for the consumer. The problem at hand is right now, somebody like me, for instance. Now, luckily, we're in an era where the Bills are good enough to where you really don't need to have Sunday Ticket if you live outside of Buffalo to watch the Bills, because the majority of their games are either the game of the week at the 1 p.m. slot, the 4 p.m. slot, which will be on regardless, or a primetime game.
Okay.
So there might only be 2-3 weeks max throughout the year where you're going to have to find a solution to watch. In fact, based on where I'm at in Connecticut, I won't know, obviously, until the broadcast schedule comes out for the 1 p.m. games as far as what locations are getting what in terms of what I'm going to need to do here. I bought it last year, and I'm waiting right now to decide whether or not I'm going to do it again this year, depending on what the situation is with how the Bills are covered down here in Connecticut. But typically we were getting the games. And last year I realized after buying it, man, I probably didn't have to do it. It's $350 to have access to NFL Sunday Ticket, which when you think about it, it is a lot. There's really nothing else that costs that much. I have NBA League Pass. That's $15 a month to get every single out-of-market NBA game. And that's far more games and far more days of the week that you get access to. $350 is a ton. I think it winds up coming down to like $70 or so a month. But what I hope comes from this, and what I never understood that they did, and this is what I think was the precipice. It was the fact that you are forced to pay all that money for everything. The majority of people, especially now with Red Zone, are not looking to buy every game. I don't need to have the Panthers 1:00 games, but that, of course, is bundled into the price. What I'm hoping we get is the option for like $50 to pick a team that you buy the access to each year. So, for instance, if I'm down here in Connecticut and there's a couple of 1 p.m. games that don't get broadcast on CBS or Fox here, for $50, I won't have to worry about it. For the whole season, I will have every Bills game through Sunday Ticket. Now, of course, you'll still have the option to buy all the teams. Individual teams is where I think this is going and what I think needs to be the outcome of this, because that's what the vast majority of people want. With Red Zone now, even I, who last year had Sunday Ticket, you can watch 4 games at once in the quad box through the Sunday Ticket. With Red Zone, though, it defeats the purpose because I don't need to watch 4 games at once in their full duration. When I got Scott Hansen giving me the best of the best in each game, and I don't have to go flicking from here to there, he's giving me what I need. So that, to me, is what I hope and I think the outcome of this will be. It is a bit confusing to me because I don't understand why the NFL doesn't have the right to charge whatever they want. It's their product. That's what kind of confuses me about this. But I guess when you get big enough to where you are, you're part of the basic cable and stuff like that, I guess it gets to the point where it does get, obviously we're watching it unfold right now. It does get to a point where it is unfair for people to be able to access the product in a fair and valuable way. And I think this is what it all came down to. But I've just noticed, especially recently, the value isn't there because of what Red Zone brings to you, in my opinion. I just don't know what you would need all of those games for. And that's what the general issue is. I'd want to pay for the Bills and Bills alone. But as Matt's saying here, I think that the NFL will budge in terms of what they offer. I think that this is what the outcome will be. It's going to be a while, though. The NFL is going to appeal this over and over and over again, probably until it gets all the way up until the Supreme Court. And they've got 1 trillion other things on their docket. And I'm not entirely sure if the NFL Sunday Ticket lawsuit is going to be at the top of their list. So this is going to get appealed into oblivion. And as Rico just said, the numbers you heard, I'm sure, are staggering. When it comes out to this $4 billion that could get tripled in an antitrust lawsuit,
you go up.
I would be beyond stunned if the NFL ever has to pay anything close to that. I feel like a settlement might have to come down to things that I'm talking about here.
There goes your $1,900 down to like freaking $50.
I just hope that at the end of the day, we wind up, and this is where I felt like this is going for a while, and you're starting to see this. You're starting to see all of these streaming platforms get in on this. Amazon now has it. Netflix is going to have it this coming year. YouTube TV obviously now has the rights to the Sunday Ticket. What I hope happens, and I feel like I don't understand why the NFL doesn't do this, they should have packages that are vastly different that you can buy. Like, I feel like there should be a gambling package where I can buy a broadcast that strictly focuses on the gambling aspects of the game. I should be able to buy a package where I'm getting the home team's analysts, right? Like where the Bills have their own dedicated play-by-play team. Like, I feel like this is where it's going, and hopefully this is what we get from it sooner, where we get a variety of different options all over the place that directly benefits the consumer. Because I feel like the way it's been, it's been hindering the consumer more than it's benefiting.
Okay, so here's a question for you and the chat right now, because somehow, some way, half of the people in this chat are probably streaming from some kind of device to watch their game. Maybe they get the game on local TV, and they're paying for something to watch this. So when does it become too much? How much is too much to stream to watch the Bills? So I'll tell you right now, I'm in Canada, and for those that don't know, obviously, but I watch off DAZN. Okay, and some people are very familiar with DAZN. And it used to be at the beginning, used to be like, I think it was something like $14 or $16
for all the games.
For the, and it's a package, right? I get all games I get the NFL Rewind. I get the NFL Network. I get soccer, and I get all these other sports that are part of the DAZN.
But you get to pick the game that you want to watch every week.
Pick the game. If I'm watching the Bills. No, I don't want to watch the Bills right now. It's commercial. I'm gonna go to this game right here. Click. I can click that game.
Wow,
I'm cool with that. And it's supposed to give you NFL. What do you call the all 22? It's supposed to give you all 22 as well. I don't get all 22. I feel like I'm being gypped. If I can get to all 22, it's worth it. I'm paying I'm paying $32 a month when it comes to watching the season. How much is too much where you're like, yo, I love my team, but I'm not paying this amount. I have a feeling these people know that people love their sports, and we're going to increase it every so often to the point where if you want to watch your team, you're going to be paying upwards. I mean, like you said, $70 is what it's costing a month to get NFL.
It's going to come out to $350 just for the ticket. And that, by the way, Rico, that's not including also paying for YouTube TV in itself. Like if you buy ticket, that doesn't give you Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, or Thursday Night Football. You also have to have the cable plan of YouTube TV to watch that too. So throughout the duration of the football season, let's just say September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months, it's going to wind up costing you probably well over $1,000 to get all the games.
It's gonna get to that point, man. It's just getting nasty. So I'm gonna share you guys my screen here for DAZN Canada, right? And they clearly don't have the same kind of things that the Americans have, but it's always like that. Our Netflix is different. It's wild, right? So let's just say you wanted to sign up for DAZN. So right now it's $19 a month for a monthly plan. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's perfect. You guys can see it. $19. So you get your boxing, right? You get UFC, you get MLB, you get to watch some Euro soccer. You get quite a bit of a package, right? So
you get the UFC cards too, like the pay-per-view.
You can. So so DAZN is getting pretty good. So annual, you can spend up to $200.
Wow. So you get all of that for $150 less than what we get just for the NFL.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So and it's gonna increase. It's gonna get more. It's gonna become way more. So this is where we're at right now. So you can pay $19 a month. And so what I'll do is I'll pay the monthly. So I'll do it from, so right now I have it activated as we speak because preseason is coming around the corner. So I'll go from around, I think I have it frozen right now. So I go from August to about March. No, when do we do the draft? April, yes. May-ish. So I go from there to there, and then I freeze it for a few months, right? So I'm paying about 30. It equates to about $30 a month. So that's what I'm doing, which is crazy. So a monthly pass of 29. So or I can do the whole year and go 200. But some people are like, I don't want to do the whole year and this and that and third. But I'm sitting here going, I don't want all this other stuff, this baseball and this, that. I just want the NFL. So give me a package that gives me the NFL. These guys are like, nah, you taking it all, and this is the package we're going to give you. So it's going to come to a point where, bro, it's just going to increase and increase and increase and keep going. So that's why people like my girl Laura here, I'm going to find a bootleg stream this year. I paid for stupid Peacock and NFL access. I'm done. I'm sorry. And listen, times are tough these days, man. Times are tough. There's not everybody that can sit here and afford all this to watch a damn football game. It used to be.
Well, and that's the thing. I wonder, and I'm sure they do, but I wonder just how much they account for the amount of illegal streaming that there is, because they're still doing record numbers as it is, and that's not including illegal streaming, and that's happening in abundance. That's happening a ton. I wonder if they would just be in better off charging far less and getting a lot of these people who do illegally stream to just say, hey, $10, it's not worth having to get the stream up. I'll just pay the $10, as opposed to where now people are like, I'd much rather fight through the illegal stream than have Peacock, Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube TV, Sunday Ticket.
Bro,
you know what I mean? Like there's a lot that goes into it, and you have to be informed too. Like the casual fan probably doesn't know that there's going to be a game on Netflix. They probably don't know that you're going to have Peacock for a couple games this year. Like that's the other thing.
Bro, I'm sick. Listen, I'm paying for Netflix. I'm sure all of you guys are in this. I'm paying for Netflix. I'm paying for Disney. The wife a couple months ago, she's like, oh, this show I really want to watch is on Crave. So all right, bet.
Crave.
Crave
There's a trillion of these. I never even heard of it.
Crave TV. Then there's Apple TV.
Yeah.
So like, and there's some movies on Apple TV. I was like, oh, that's a good one, man. I'm like, let me see if it's on that. No, it's only on Apple TV, exclusive to Apple TV. I got them playing for Prime, right? Dude, the amount that we pay for these things, and on top of that, Canada is the worst for cell phone service. Cell phone, you guys have it good for cell phone service. What do you pay? Like less than $40 a month for your cell phone? Maybe 50?
Right, that's probably about right.
I wish it were the case for us. We're paying for the 3 lines that I have right now, and I'm a hustler. I find ways to kind of move away and get discounts. I'm paying for my wife, and my oldest, right? My eldest, and it's about $185 a month for 3 lines of service, bro. It's nasty.
What is that for? What do you have? The Bell there? Is that what it is?
I'm with Rogers. We're Rogers. Yeah, I mess with Rogers. I don't do Bell. Bell, they gouge people like crazy. So anyway, it comes to the point where this streaming business is killer. Disney, they were $89 a month just last year. This year, they're like, oh, by the way, we've increased it and we're doubling our Disney because we've increased the HD. I don't give a fuck about no damn HD. Yo, just put the movie on and call it a day. But you got kids and they need to watch some stuff. So I'm like, man. So streaming services, bro, they're making a killing. And we are sitting here going, how much more should I pay?
I know, and every year they add one. Like Netflix is new this year. Every year they add one.
So IPTV, bro. I mean, IPTV, I'm very familiar with IPTV. Very familiar. And that's definitely a route to take if these things are getting too ridiculous. But it is what it is, man.
I wonder when it gets to the point, because the only reason anybody even has a cable service at this point anymore is because of sports. I don't know. I don't know why they haven't offered like a general, like the NFL app kind of sucks. Like, why don't they have a hub that has everything under one umbrella?
Thank you.
Charge for that. Wouldn't they make just as much? I don't know. I mean, maybe they wouldn't. There's got to be a reason they're doing what they're doing. But man, that just seems like the best option.
Well, 45 blocks is basically you're spending ticket money to sit in your own house.
It's true.
You ain't lying, bro.
At the end of the day, if you sacrifice paying the amount of money that it takes, like say that you are somebody that just finds a stream online. If you didn't pay for a single service, you'd probably save enough to go to 3 or 4 games with that money alone.
It's true, man. It's so true. It's like, and you're sitting here like, but everybody likes the comfort of your house. In my mindset, I'm like, I'm paying a mortgage in this house. I mean, I'm paying for all these things. I'm going to enjoy the mortgage that I'm paying in that house. I bought my TV for this reason. I'm gonna enjoy myself watching the game in the comfort of my own home. But man, they're making you pay. They're making you pay. Golly. And now
we're gonna pay it. That's the thing. They wouldn't do it if they weren't making the money on it. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to.
Brother, you absolutely nailed that. So yeah, I had to bring that up in terms of the amount of money that we pay for streaming, which brings into the whole NFL Sunday ticket, the lawsuit. So if you are one of the folks that are going to be inheriting some money down the line, if they go through with it, everything goes through, $1,900 coming your way.
Well, if you're one of those OG direct TVers who had the ticket, man, you're going to get a nice chunk if it winds up going the way it's set up to go right now. That's pretty sweet.
That's not bad at all.
Like we said, don't be ready to save it for a rainy day. Don't make any rash decisions on a purchase soon, thinking you're going to get that money back, because it's going to be a minute.
It's gonna be a hot minute. But it was, when the money comes, they're going to tax your ass anyway. So $1,900.
Well, here's what I wonder. Because they're not going to say at the end of the day, Rico, that this winds up being upheld all the way to the nth degree. No matter how much they appeal it, they're going to have to. The chickens are going to come home to roost. They have got to pay it.
Got it.
How is this getting passed back down to the fan? Because there's no way they're paying that laying down. So what goes up? Ticket prices.
Oh yeah.
Merchandise. Like, where are they getting this money back? Because they're not donating it. That's for damn sure.
The NFL is gonna be sitting here. Oh, so I'm paying $14 bill. Bet. Here we go. Hot dogs, $79. I don't give a damn. You paid for that. You want that glizzy? You go get that glizzy for $79, bitch.
Weirdly enough, I feel like it's more of an antitrust violation doing all these different streaming services than I feel like the offering of the Sunday ticket is. Because at least the Sunday ticket, like, you get what you pay for. Like with the Netflix, like you have to buy Netflix just for one game to have that, or you have to buy Peacock just for a couple of games. I feel like that is way more ludicrous than offering the ticket, because at least with the ticket, you do get everything. It is pricey, but the fact that you have to pay very close attention to the league, Rico, to know what games are on where every week. You really do.
Well, that's why you got to do what you do, is wait till the last second and wait till see what's going on, and you steal that ticket super cheap, and away you go. And it's been working for you. You've been doing a very good job.
The games, yeah.
You've been doing a very good job. So listen, very good tactic. But you're playing Russian roulette, because you're going to the game or you're not.
Well, and it's burned me too. Like last year, it burned me. I waited to the last second for the Cowboys game, and it wound up being a ton. But you're already there. But sometimes it does. Like sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, you're definitely rolling the dice.
So out of 10 times, how successful are you getting a
I would say 8 out of 10 times it works out.
Oh, good. Those are great odds.
But even if you wind up having it not work out, like we're still so spoiled currently with the ticket prices in Buffalo. Like I'm dying to see how bad these ticket prices are going to be with this new stadium.
Are Bills ticket prices way cheaper than around the NFL?
A fraction. Like for a perfect example, like say just a standard, like a great example would be say the opening game wasn't, say Bills Cardinals was like week 5. Like that's not a special game. It's Bills Cardinals. It's not like you're dying. It's not like Bills Chiefs or whatever. That same game, Cowboys Cardinals, probably costing you 5 to 6 times more. The exact same game.
Gross.
So, like Steelers tickets, crazy expensive. Obviously, Cowboys. And I mean, the teams that aren't doing well are cheaper as well. But dude, the Bills tickets in regard to the rest of the league, I don't think people realize just how good we have it. And they're going to realize soon, because when that new ticket or that new stadium rolls around, you combine that with a team that everybody wants to go see too. I'm scared to see what that's going to wind up looking like.
What are the ticket prices for a Kansas City Chiefs game? Like
Chiefs aren't that bad, believe it or not, either. Especially in regard to how good they are. I mean, they're not dead cheap, but yeah, like Matt's saying, dude, it costs more to park at SoFi than it would cost to go to the game in Buffalo.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Nasty. That's why I gotta like when I go to games now, it's just gonna be New England, man. If I can't get to a Bills game, because that is going to be, the price is going to be astronomical.
And now's the time to do it, because in New England, like they're cheaper than they've ever been because of how bad they are.
This is the way it's going to be.
Last year, I had like 50-yard line down lower bowl for the Patriots Bills, the worst game of the year, of course. But it was only like $170, I think. That ticket probably would have cost well over $300 in Buffalo for the same seat. So,
Laura, you're right. You better go to a game this year before the new stadium. Those prices are going to be nasty. That's what I'm thinking too. I'm like, shoot, I have a neighbor of mine. He's like, yo, I've never been to a Bills game. And I was like, this might be the year we have to go to a Bills game.
It has to be. Like,
you got to make it happen. Now, home opener, that might be super tough. Might have to be another game, but
yeah, you got to strategize. Like, there's going to be games, of course, that are more expensive. Like the home opener will be more expensive. The Niners game, the Chiefs game. But if you go to like, I don't know, like late in the season, the Patriots game, it could be cheaper. The weather also has a factor on it. Like if the weather's really shit, you can get some cheap tickets. But yeah, enjoy it now, no matter how much it is. Because I'm like, for instance, Rico, there's not a situation in hell where I will not be at the last game at the Ralph and the first game at the new stadium, no matter what.
Oh yeah,
and I just keep thinking to myself, what's that gonna run me? What is that gonna run me?
Yo, forget about getting married, bro. That's gonna be your girlfriend for a while, man. Take that wedding money and save that for those 2 games.
It's also, what's funny? Just coming down to like what Matt called. He called us cheap asses. You want to know what concerns me the most? I've always thought about this. How broke am I gonna be when the Bills inevitably do win the Super Bowl, and I have to own every single thing that says Bills Super Bowl champions on it? I'll be broke in a month. I'll be broke.
Bankruptcy.
There won't be a thing I won't buy.
Yeah.
You won't see me for months without something on that says Buffalo Bills Super Bowl champions.
Don't lose your lady over it, because Caroline's gonna be like, all right, knock it off. You already have all those.
She knows what she's signing up for.
Action figures back there. You already got them all. Chill out, bro. Chill out. That's what she's gonna tell you.
You think it's bad now? Wait till those action figures got the little Super Bowl logo on. It's gonna be game over. We're gonna have to take out the loan. Good God.
Listen. This is just what it's gonna be, folks. So save your pennies, save your coins, because these games are gonna be expensive. I'm hoping that I can try to get to a game this year Wifey said she wants to come. Then you got to say her, who's going to babysit the children? Can you babysit? Cool, you can. All right, how we getting down there? Now it's just a whole ordeal. I can't drive down there. It's way too much. So you got to fly. Now you got to find ways to fly and then find the cheapest way to fly.
I've been so spoiled for so long. I get on the highway for an hour and I'm at the game.
Yep.
Like for people like you, like it's
an ordeal. Thing. You really have to plan it out. You do. So I gotta fly. Facts, man. He's going bankruptcy, man. That's it. If he continues to act the way he's acting, you're gonna be Z-Bot. Be like, yo, I got no credit, bro. Everything's gotta be cash, right? But
at least they haven't done it to me yet. I guess that's the silver lining.
Exactly right. Flying to Toronto. I gotta fly into Toronto for sure, or Hamilton, and then rental, and then drive into Buffalo. That's the cheapest course of action. Can't fly straight.
You gotta spend money every step of the way.
Oh, you spending bread no matter what. No matter what, you're spending money. So
like
it's all about
$1,000 weekend for you at the minimum, right? No matter how you shape it.
Minimum. And now I have to say to this one, this is what's going to cost us. What? We can't find a cheaper way. Listen, this is the best way. Either you want to come or you don't.
Right.
Are you in? She's going to talk shit, but she's in. All right, then. Let's quit the talking and let's get going.
Yeah.
And here I am talking about how cheap I am and I don't want to pay for.
Well, that's where if you're going to do it, though, then you got to make it worth it. Like, you got to go to a better game. Then, like, I don't know if it would be worth it to go and do that for the Cardinals game. Like, I would go and make sure to do that for like the Chiefs game, the Niners game. You know,
home opener is the best.
That's true. Yeah,
those are great, man. I love home openers. I mean, I've gone to other games in the middle, and every experience I've had at the Bills game is great. So, but it's time for me to start to look at other places because I've only ever been to a Bills game and a Bills stadium. So I need to start looking at other. I want to go to the enemy's den to see what that's like. That's gotta be fun, especially when your team is good. Ooh, some shit talk is gonna happen, boy. I'll tell you
fun.
that much.
It is fun.
But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out, folks. So, what do we got left on the docket? You good?
I think that's going to do it for us on a Friday. Last Friday of June, July 4th next week. So I don't think we won't probably do one next week.
No, next week is going to be July 4th for you guys. July 1st for me is Canada Day on I can't believe last time you're like, what? You guys have a Canada Day? Yeah, we call it Canada Day. You guys call it 4th of July.
Yeah.
Canada Day. I mean, if you think about it,
Independence Day.
Both names are pretty corny because we call it Canada Day and y'all call it 4th of July.
Yeah.
It's the 4th of July. We just know what it is. Or is there another name for it? Is it Independence Day?
Independence Day is the sophisticated term for it.
Yeah. So we have Canada Day. So and it blows because Canada Day's on a long weekend, which is great. It ends up being a long weekend, and it's gonna be raining out here. That is the worst, bro.
So you can't put the Blackstone to work, or can you? What's the deal? You got
the Blackstone. Let me talk about the Blackstone before I get out of here, bro. The Blackstone. I got a 28-inch Blackstone, and I was like, all right, so what can I do? The last time I talked to you, I think I put a couple hot dogs on there, and it was
you were in the process of figuring out what you were gonna do.
Your boy was I did smash burgers on that thing. Primo, the only thing I got to learn about the smash burgers is you can't smash the burgers and put it aside and then start working on the other things, bro. Everything has to be prepared, then do your smash burgers. The minute those things are done, eat that because the burgers are thin. Right. So you gotta eat it quick because it's just uninteresting. But the thing I was the most excited about was breakfast on the Blackstone. Bro, I had bacon strips lined up on that thing, pancakes going at the same time, and hash browns. Bro, I couldn't be listen, I'm speaking like this and I gotta smile ear to ear. It was exciting. I'm like, yo, I'm doing all this stuff and I don't have to clean up the mess of bacon backsplash all over the place. Bro, this was primo. The only thing I gotta get is I gotta get a hard top lid. Right now I'm lidless. Lidless is not a flex. It's not a flex at all.
The lid sold separately.
Lid is sold separately, those bastards. They know how to get you.
Oh, it's like everything else. You buy everything and then you're strapped with the accessories. You gotta get this. You gotta get that.
Yeah, absolutely right. So I gotta get the I could just use an aluminum bowl and put it over the burgers and whatnot.
You're trying to be legit. You're trying to do it right.
Listen, if you gotta go legit. If you're gonna get the tools and you're gonna get the big Blackstone, you gotta do properly. You can't just sit here with a fork and knife trying to flip things around. If you're gonna pay the money, you pay the money. That's what I'm talking about. Yo, but tailgate Rico's, bro, I'm telling you right now, and I'm Blackstoning out of my garage. Can I say that? Blackstoning? Yeah. I'm Blackstoning at the garage, bro. The garage door is open. I'm sitting there. People are watching. I was like, yo, what up? The boy is on the
You're the NBA of the town. You're the toast of the town with that thing, baby.
Bro, I see people watching. I see you watching. And it's funny enough, I had my neighbor come over. He's doing stuff with his kids. And I was doing breakfast. I was like, yo, come on over, man. I made a whole bunch of pancakes, bro. Jump in.
Nice. Dude, I love it. I love it.
There.
Those things are killer, dude.
Listen, I blame Rev. Rev is the one that was all on that Blackstone, and that shit looked legit. So I was like, I gotta get me another.
That's Rev's livelihood, that thing.
Bro, listen, the Blackstone is key. So the only thing is I don't know what I'm gonna do in the wintertime because I don't think I'm gonna be one to use it in the winter.
Well, with the garage, I mean, I don't know. Throw on a coat, it could be fine.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I got to have the doors open. I mean, those are first people problems, man. First world problems. It's not that big a deal. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. But yeah, man, that's it, man. That's it for me. We appreciate y'all. Real talk. You guys have been tuning in. Next week you may not see us because I mean the way things all play out. It's a holiday week, so maybe we can try to sneak one in. You never know. We'll see. Because sometimes we get itchy and we're like, yo, you trying to pod? Yeah, man, let's pod. Let's
give us something to talk about, NFL gods, please.
Yeah,
something positive, by the way. I should be clear.
Hey, listen, positive. We don't want any bad news. We don't want somebody getting drunk, and we don't want someone doing fireworks, and all of a sudden there goes their hand.
But hey, soon we'll be wrapped up. I mean, we're only a handful of weeks away from training camp, so we'll have a lot to get into. So only about a month left of talking about car washes and in the NBA. We'll be ready to rock very soon here.
Listen, make sure you dry up that keyboard of yours because you got Diet Coke all over that thing, man.
She's dried up. I drank every last ounce right off. I can't let any DC go to waste.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. So, folks, you guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Listen, 2-hour pod. It's not easy to sit still and do this, but I mean, if the topics are interesting enough, that's got you sitting there, and it's not just football related, it's everything under the sun. And if this is something that does something for you, do us a favor, continue to show some love, smash that like while you guys are here. If you're new to the channel, like my girl Kim earlier, she's a fan of the Chiefs, but she says, I love watching y'all. Y'all are amazing. That's big time love. So salute to Kim earlier. And if you guys continue to show some love, you guys know what it is, man. It's the Buffalo Fanatics. It's my boy Bot. It's your boy Rico and Bot in the afternoon. I think we settled on that. Are we good with that or what?
We're getting close to locking down all of the official business when it comes to the duo show here. You'll be seeing all of that in its glory come season time, baby.
Let's go, folks. You guys have yourself a fantastic weekend, and maybe we'll see you next week or a couple weeks from now. We'll see.
Much love, everybody. Enjoy the weekend, and go Bills.